counsel. Anticipated litigation. The board gave further direction to district staff and took action on the following. Pulled consent agenda item F4A1 for a separate vote as follows. A motion was made by Mr. Hogan and seconded by Ms. Smith and approved the elementary school principal for Sugar Hill Elementary School, Erica Melendres. This was approved by the Board of Education by the following vote: 3 yes, no no's. And a motion was made by Mr. Hogan and seconded by Ms. Smith and approved the coordinator of special education, mild moderate, Dr. Anthony Rice. This was approved by the Board of Education by the following vote: 3 yes and no no's. And then item F4A was pulled. At this time, I would like to move to Dr. Verdi. We did select some new people. So Dr. Verdi, would you please introduce the new employees?
I will, Mr. Johnson, thank you. And they're current employees who are taking another step in their journey with us in these promotional opportunities and leadership. We're very excited for both of them. First, Mrs. Erica Melendres has been named the principal at Sugar Hill Elementary. Mrs. Melendres has served the district since 2006 in a variety of capacities, English teacher, ELA coach. She has been an administrator at both Vista Heights Middle School and Canyon Springs High School. And we're very excited for this next step on her path as she becomes the next principal at Sugar Hill Elementary. So Mrs. Melendres, I'll turn it over to you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited for this new opportunity to serve the Sugar Hill community. I'd like to thank Dr. Kadziora, our cabinet, and the Board of Education. I'm looking forward to working alongside the Sugar Hill team, students and families, especially as we pursue our IB authorization and reimagine Sugar Hill as an IB World School. Finally, I have to thank my family for their support as we embark on this journey together. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Also approved tonight, Mr. Johnson, as you know, Dr. Anthony Rice. He will now serve the district as the coordinator of mild, moderate, and special education. He'll be supporting Mr. Ramirez and his team in the special education department. Dr. Rice has served as an assistant principal with us in the district for a number of years now. And again, always great to see our team promoting and taking on new challenges. Dr. Rice, congratulations, sir, and good luck on this next step.
All right, thank you. Thank you guys so much. I would like to thank the board, Dr. Martin Rex Kadziora, the cabinet, for this wonderful opportunity. I will also like to thank Ms. Johnson, the Valley View staff, and the families. I'm extremely excited to work alongside Jason Ramirez and the SELPA leadership team and the community. I would be remiss if I didn't thank my family, especially my wife, supporting me in every transition that I've ever made within my career. I also want to give a special thank you to my mentor and coach, Dr. LaFay Platter, for guiding me. I'm also grateful for just God has answered all my prayers and allowing me this opportunity to expand my leadership and provide a service of support and dedication to this wonderful district. And again, I just want to thank the board because I'm just completely humbled and I'm just grateful just to be a part of this Moreno Valley Unified School District staff. So I just say thank you guys. I'm just grateful.
Thank both of you all, and congratulations. You know, we the members of the board know both of you very well. We've seen you a lot, and we're looking for some great things from you, and you guys have just stated it. So thank you, and congratulations. We appreciate you, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys in your new positions.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, would you like to let the other board members say something?
Please.
Yeah.
Mr. Hook, Ms. Smith.
Yes, I'd just like to say welcome. We're so happy to have you in these new positions. I won't say welcome to Moreno Valley because you've been here with us, but welcome to these new positions. We're excited to be working with you in a new position and a new relationship. So congratulations and thank you.
And I would just like to echo those words and say to all of you, welcome to your new positions. Congratulations and thank you for continuing being part of our family and for accepting the challenge ahead of you. You know, it's been a difficult time, but you are still here with us, like many other staff members, but you're taking new responsibilities, and we have all the confidence in the world that you will succeed. And when you succeed, our students succeed too. So thank you so much for taking that opportunity and for being part of our family. We're extremely proud of happening. You are going to be the work that is going to be happening where you're going. So thank you so much.
Yep. And I'd like to also thank Dr. Ketzer and his team for the two wonderful selections in-house too. So I really appreciate the fact that we are working with folks, and then we also have the opportunity to see them advance in their careers. So Dr. Ketzer, you and your staff, thank you guys so much for choosing these two wonderful people that we know very well.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes,
I just wanted to say congratulations to them both and thank the board for your support and the recommendation. And I'm looking forward to working with both of you, each of you in this new role. And thank you very much. Congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
Well, thank you, you guys. And thank you again, Dr. Ketzer, for the choices that you and your staff made. I think it's always good when we hire people from within. I mean, it's always a comfort to all of us that we are the ones that help train them, and now we're going to be in the new positions. Okay, with that being said, we're going to move on to item E, Pledge of Allegiance. A master. That's going to. Oh, is that a lady? I'm sorry. Did I pronounce your name correctly, Sean? How do you pronounce that? Okay, well, she probably don't hear me.
Sean Jones, Mr. Johnson. Sean Jones.
Oh, I was right.
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
We ready for her? Okay, will everyone please stand?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sean Jones, and I am a student at the Mountain View Middle School. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And because I apologize too for the Sean. I thought Sean was a male, but it's a beautiful young lady. Thank you so much for that pledge, for leading us in pledge. Okay, dates of future board meetings. November the 9th, we have closed session at 4 and open session at 6. It's a regular meeting. And then on December the 14th, closed session will also be at 4 with an open session at 6. Organizational regular meeting. Okay, moving. Right along. Okay. Okay. Staff on
E3, Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, you're still on page 6. We're on E3.
Oh, shoot, I'm trying to hurry and get done. School reports. The high school student representative, Michaela Barrios, the 12th grade student from Valley View High School, will give us her school report. Totally turn that page. I'm sorry.
Michaela, you can unmute yourself, sweetie, and you can go ahead and start.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Board, Vice President Cleveland Johnson, Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. Kenzie Orrick, and the community of Moreno Valley. My name is Michaela Barrios, Associated Student Body President of Valley View High School. I am honored to be serving as School Board Representative this year. We want to first begin by acknowledging the loss of our fellow counselor, Ms. Margaret Kazin. Our Associated Student Body decorated her office with hearts and opened her doors for flowers to be placed in her office. We began our anti-bullying campaign for this month, starting with an activity called Hugs No Hate, where students signed a poster and received a hug, which is another a kiss that will be hung up in the quad. Eagles participated in Orange Day, where students pledged not to allow bullying on campus. We handed out orange ribbons to students. Eagles pledged to be an upstander, not a bystander. Students signed note cards with positive messages. These messages will be up in the A-wing so students can look at a positive message each day on their way to class. Anti-bullying photo booth, where students took pictures and recorded a pledge. Our sound and media team is currently stitching together all the videos and will be soon posted on the Instagram video for Valley View High School Associated Student Body Instagram page. Outside of the counselors, there was a table with a poster that said, Eagles soar with excellence, they lead with dignity, and they pursue with a purpose, where students left a positive message. For Red Ribbon Week, Associate Student Body will be hosting lunchtime activities. Today, Monday, we had build your own bracelets. Tuesday, we had Associate Student Body handed out red ribbons to each of the Eagles on campus. Wednesday is a Spirit Day, and it's a red out. Thursday is Clothespin Pledge with Black Student Union, and Friday is Red Ribbon Week with guidance. As our sports season starts and comes to an end, we have recognized our seniors in volleyball, tennis, water polo, and soon football. We are glad to see all the joy of the seniors as they come out of the Eagle and receive their gifts. We would like to recognize some of our sports. Girls golf are league champs 8-1 and will be playing in the California Intergalactic Federation next week. Ari Long, grade 11th, was MVP and the MVP of the league, and Kennedy Lauderman, grade 11, was runner-up. Girls tennis was 13-1 and our league champs. They won their senior night. What a way to go out. Boys water polo is 16-12 and finished first in league. Boys also won their game, way to celebrate their last day as a senior. Kevin Uela, grade 11, beat the record for the most goals in a game. He scored 13 goals. The previous record was 12 goals. Boys cross country is currently second in league, and we will be recognizing our seniors for football this Friday, October 29th. Latin America Student Association has been saying a few words in our morning announcements, recognizing the achievements of Hispanic Americans for Hispanic Heritage Month. With that, that has allowed us to have more clubs to come in and say a few words about their clubs. Black Student Union will be our next club for the morning announcements. They will be doing team leading association for this week. Their first one is a cultural tag where they talk about different sayings that they heard growing up to come together as a community. We recognize each of our clubs in our homecoming prep rally, such as Circle of Friends, Economics Club, Asia Club, Red Cross, and many more. We currently have more than 30 active clubs on campus. STEP team did their first performance during lunchtime in the quad. Our sports medicine has been selling boo bags for students who would like to send a boo to students, teachers, friends, and relatives. Our Letterman Club has recently recognized their president, David Whittle, for committing to San Diego State University for baseball, and Brianna Williams for committing to University of Nevada, Las Vegas for softball. These are amazing achievements for these Eagles. Lettermans are also having a cleanup on Wednesday where they will be picking up trash around campus. The Associated Student Body is getting ready for our first Eagle Idol in nearly 2 years. Eagle Idol is where we recognize our Eagles for their academic achievements. The Student Body has created our first student section for this school year to cheer on our amazing football team. The Economics Club started their own community garden located in the back of the quad. We held the PSATs and SAT school testing here on campus October 13th. Almost 300 students attended. 9th grade bar teams held Eagle Chats on Monday, October 25th via Zoom. 9th grade teachers will be reviewing their first quarter grades, their credits, and their grad requirements for the next 4 years. ASVAB testing is in the comments on Wednesday. Our tutoring is available to help students during school, after school, before school, and online. Please contact the school for more information. Currently, we have close to 200 students who have achieved perfect attendance in the first quarter. We also have more than 350 students who have a 4.0 or higher grade point average. This concludes my report. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Any question? If none, great job, and thank you for coming to our meeting today and giving your school report. We appreciate it. You guys are doing some wonderful things.
Thank you for having me.
Colleagues, do you guys have any questions before I move on? Okay, with none, I don't know why I don't see. Okay, let me just hit this like this. Next, we have our superintendent report. Dr. Ketziora.
Mr. Johnson, and this evening, like all others, I have many students I want to recognize because there's so many amazing students. But on the next slide, when you look at our 11 commitments, our vision, our mission, and our goals, tonight we focus on the portrait of a graduate and our 11 commitments and how people in our district exemplify those, but also students demonstrate the portrait of a graduate, those 6 qualities of collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, communication, adaptability, and perseverance. So on the next slide, I'd like for you to meet some of these amazing students. This is a portrait of a graduate student in critical thinking, and this is at Palm Middle School at the STEAM Academy. And Yanaya Gamboa is an 8th grade student at Palm Middle School, and she's interested in exploring environmental sciences. Her work is being showcased in the California STEAM Symposium 2021. They choose students from all over California, and one of the students that they've chosen is from Moreno Valley. She takes the environmental issues seriously and is always looking at the solutions for the problems like oil spills and saving the wildlife. We're proud of the work she is doing and expect great things to come. We also want to thank her family for the support they provide her, and Dr. Harris, the principal at Palm Middle School, our STEAM Academy. Very proud of her. And you know, I don't know if y'all know, but Claudia calls each of these people. They're watching, and they're very excited when they get recognized. The next student is also a student in our district at Vista Heights Middle School, and she's at the International Baccalaureate School, and this is the middle years program, and her name is Genevieve Covington. Her mother is also a professional development specialist in our district. She is being showcased in the California STEAM Symposium, and her engineered project is called Iron Woman, where she explores the possibility of augmenting the human body. Ultimately, she wants to make us stronger and faster, creating a future where the human mind has no limits. That's amazing. We have our eyes on Genevieve, and we're excited to see what she does next. Congratulations, Genevieve, and thank you to Mark Hassan and her amazing parents who support her and her family. Congratulations. The next student is from Vista Delago High School, and his parents, his mother is Dr. Arce, who is the Director of Secondary Education, and he's supported by Dr. Dunhams, the principal of Vista Delago High School. And there's a new program in the county this year, and there were choices to be made of students who would represent. And today, Benetton, or I call him Ben, he was selected by Vista Delago High School to participate in the development of Riverside County Office of Education's first ever Civic Leadership Institute. Student voice is a critical piece in the process of developing and launching a Civic Leadership Institute for both students and adult leaders. The structure of the Institute is crafted after Harvard's Making Caring Common Tenets. And today, Ben participated in the first, they had their first time to come together, and he sent me and his principal and Mrs. Maddox and Dr. Dunhams and other people at Vista Delago his impressions of this first communication of what happened at this event. And we're very proud to say that a lot was gained, and we're looking forward to what will be done in future events. He's also a star football player with the Ravens. And as you know, they won the Inland Valley Champions. And I'm going to be highlighting that again, but congratulations to Ben Arcee and to his family, his mother and father, Mr. and Miss Arcee, and Dr. Dunhams. Thank you. And this next person is about perseverance, and every child has different learning needs. And I want you to know, Mrs. Rivera wrote me today, and she talked about how her daughter attended Canyon Springs High School, and she said, I wish I would have known about this program sooner. She attends the GO program, and that's a program that you, the board, approved a few years ago to help students graduate. And so this is truly one of the examples and the representatives of how students can accelerate and earn classes in a different format. And Mrs. Rivera said the GO program should be shared at every high school and middle school in Moreno Valley Unified School District. Every child has different learning needs. Our daughter would have not graduated high school if these educators had ignored what her needs were. I'm deeply grateful to those educators. They are true educators for teaching our children. Thank you for letting these awesome educators be a part of our daughter's future. She's looking into going to college now and becoming very successful in her educational journey. Thank you for your time. All the support and kind words from each of these educators helped my daughter through a tough route. She has succeeded. So we're very proud of Tiffany Rivas, and she's recovered 20 classes. She's a remarkable young lady, and she's going to graduate early now, thanks to the GO program, graduation opportunity. And thank you, Mr. Peoples and the staff at Bridges Learning Center, but also thank you to Mrs. Rose, her counselor at Canyon Springs High School, and Mrs. Kerr, the principal, who the parent recognized that stepped up to the plate for her daughter. So we're very proud of you, Tiffany, and we look forward to seeing you at a graduation ceremony. Congratulations. And then our students are just remarkable. You know, in 2019, Moreno Valley Unified School District was named the Advanced Placement District of the Year, one of 3 in the nation. Well, the reason is because of the number of AP classes that students take. But Janiyah Delone was a student in the class of 2020. And the AP College Board, the Advanced Placement College Board, notified us that she's one of only 152 students in the world to earn a perfect score on the AP Advanced Placement Art and Design exam. Now, y'all, one of 152 in the world, and she goes to school here. You know, y'all are to be real proud of that, board. Aren't y'all, how do y'all feel? Yeah. I mean,
very, very proud.
Critical thinking is a big piece of this. And that's just amazing. You know, what a great job. And, you know, I just, every day I'm just wowed by what our students accomplish. But oftentimes people don't know about these until I bring them up here. And I'm just real proud of that. The next slide is another student that it's perseverance, and it's persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. And Ezra wrote me an email recently, and he said, you helped me with math, and I connected him to a tutor who helped him pass his biggest math test of his class. He told me that the tutor went above and beyond, even connecting him with via Zoom over the summer to lend additional support. And Ezra tells me he's doing much better in his math classes this year. And he wrote me an email and told me all this himself. And I just think it says a lot. You know, a lot of students you help, you never hear back from. Well, Ezra wrote me this beautiful email. And he recently asked me where he could find a job. And what he'd really like to do is work at Baskin Robbins. And he wanted to get what's that thing you have to get a work permit? Yeah. And he said, how do I get one, Dr. Kedziora? So John Black and his team helped him, and he's going to get it this Thursday, and then he's going to get a job. And he's in 9th grade at Valley View High School. He's hardworking, he's determined, he's goal-oriented, he's well-spoken, he has excellent verbal skills, and he's courageous. And he wrote me tonight because Claudia, calls all these students and tells them they're going to be recognized. And he said, Dr. Kidzor, I'm so excited you're going to recognize me. I didn't know you were going to do that. And, I'm just really proud when I get an email like this and when students share their heart and what they're doing and that they, that they feel like we help them. I think that's why we're here. The next slide is the 11 commitments. And this is Michael Birnbaum, who's the AP art studio teacher at Valley View High School and has students who, like Janaea DeLong, that was one of only 152 students in the world to earn every point possible in the Advanced Placement 2D Art and Design exam. We applaud Janaea's hard work, but we also know, and the College Board agrees with me, that the AP teacher responsible for engaging students, enabling them to excel in a college level course. We want to thank Michael Birnbaum for what he does, and thank you, Mrs. Johnson, for supporting him. We're very proud of the advanced placement program in our district, and this is another representative. And it's also, Valley View is the exemplary School of the Arts, one of 30 in California. This is another example. And then I just have to share these things on the next slide. This is a teacher who teaches 6th grade math and science at Palm Middle School. And she's a teacher who goes to Cloverdale Elementary to do STEAM activities with the 3rd graders every day. She loves this opportunity. She and the students just wrapped up their unit on the life cycle of the monarch butterfly. The students did several hands-on activities and got to watch the process of the monarch butterfly going from egg to caterpillar to chrysalis to butterfly. And we are grateful for Dana's willingness to reach students by thinking outside of the box. Dr. Melanie Harris is her principal at the STEAM Academy. And one of the ideas, I think, I don't know if it's Dr. Arce or who in educational services, they asked teachers from middle schools and high schools to go to elementary schools and help students get excited about science and math. So when they got to those grade levels, they would feel more confident and comfortable. And this is one of the ways that's happening. So thank you, Dana Carroll, for going above and beyond. And thank you, Dr. Harris, for your support. The same thing happens on the next slide with Jeannie Ruo. She's computer math and science teacher and the computer science coordinator at Valley View High School. She does a program called Empowering Women with Code Club, and she works with Dr. Ahmad, and they're planning to have these members teach elementary school classes short programming lessons during the week of code in December. They're running a pilot class at Honey Hollow on Tuesday, November 8th at 11:30, and the club members will be in my room and they'll present via Zoom to the 4th grade class. Now, I just want you to know this is what distance learning did and how it opened up these opportunities so that students can be in different locations in our district and interact with each other. And this will be a great opportunity for our students to be involved in empowering our elementary as well as the teachers to be a force of change in the community. No longer do you have to wait till you go to high school. High school comes to you when you're in the 4th grade at Honey Hollow. And that'll happen more and more as Dr. Ahmad and Jeannie Rio work together to do this. And thank you, Mrs. Johnson, for supporting her, the principal of Valley View High School. Our technology innovation and assessment team, this past week, I don't know if y'all know, but we had a cyber academic pathway that they wanted to extend a special thank you to our incredible team. Without their expertise, time, and care for our students, the National Cyber Patriot Competition would have been impossible for our teams this year. They wanted to thank Glenn Allegre for supporting our endeavors and sharing our needs with the IT support team. Special thanks to Carlos Matos for putting in endless hours at 5 different school sites and uploading virtual images for practices in round 1 of the competition for 18 teams. And thank you, Trend Tran, for server distribution and access for smooth operation. On Friday, October 22nd and Saturday, October 23rd, the in-person and technical support at each of these school sites was invaluable. Each were prepared to deal with the unknown technical issues that arose and handled them masterfully. Canyon Springs had Ileana Rodriguez and Carlos Matos. Landmark Middle School had Josh Combs. Palm Middle School had Fred Knox, and Valley View had Abdul Kamara. And we just want to thank all of them for what they do, unselfishly, giving of their time and their support to our students so that they have the very best experience. And everyone talks about all over our Cyber Patriot team and the people who work in it. I want to thank Susanna Lopez, who oversees that team, and the business services and the ed services people who work with them. But I just want to say they intend to be successful and collaborative, and thank you. On the next page is another example on the next slide of what happens at Palm, the STEAM Academy. Kyle Gerhardt is a science and robotics teacher there. And if you've ever visited his classroom, they're always doing something about the human impact on the environment. They recently did an activity where they analyzed our school lunch trash to see if there are any ways to reduce the amount of trash our school sends to the landfill. As part of that activity, the students had to write a letter as part of a community activism to state their case and offer suggestions on changes that would make to reduce our negative environmental impact. They wrote me some letters, and I'm going to be visiting their class at 2 o'clock on Thursday and talking to the students about this project. And their teacher is amazing. And the STEAM Academy at Palm Middle School offers all kinds of advantages and opportunities to students. I want to thank Dr. Harris for her support, but I look forward to seeing the students on Thursday at 2 o'clock. And then we're very proud of our latest Golden Bell. It was validated on Friday, October the 1st. Tamara Kerr is the principal, Michelle Gomez is the counselor that oversees the Anti-Bullying Club. It's one of the largest in California, maybe the nation, but the students there truly exemplify anti-bullying and work to make their campus a much safer place. This is our 14th Golden Bell for Moreno Valley Unified School District since 2011, 14 exemplary programs that have received California School Board Association recognition for what we contribute and do in our community. These provide access and support to the greater good for our children and families, but it's a recognition of the hard work that the students and employees in our district do to bring innovation and creativity every day in Moreno Valley Unified School District. There's another program that's emerging. There's so many new things. There's the Riverside County Esports Tournament. And I want you to know that I'm trying to think of his name. He oversees it with in Glen Allegra's office or Dr. Arcee's office. Well, Josh Combs helps. I should have known this, but is his name Mr. Peters or
Mr. Whitmire?
Whitmore, yeah. Isn't it
Peter
Mr.
Whitmore.
Peter Whitmore? Yeah. Okay. I knew I was in the neighborhood. Okay. Thank y'all. Peter Whitmore, he's really excited. So are the students. And, Vista Heights Middle School, Mr. Johnson, was looking to vanquish Centennial High School in Corona Norco in the semifinals. Now, I know you went to see something, but you didn't know this was happening. And that, there's other ways to overcome people who think that they have command of everything. So this is where all of our high schools are now heading with esports. It's CIF level competition, while at the same time building college and career pathway connections for our students. It's not just gaming, it's business development, event organization, web developing, journalism, marketing, and a dozen other real life career options. We're putting MVUSD on the map for esports. So you'll see more of this in schools and you'll see more students participating. And if you're interested, please talk to your principal or your counselor about this. There's an esport program at every one of our middle and high schools. And then we want to highlight some of our sports programs this year. Canyon Springs High School, they won first place in their first league cluster race in boys and girls cross country. I want to thank Justin Remington, who's the athletic director there. And I also want to thank Tamara Kerr, who's the principal, who supports those programs with her team all the time. They're present at everything. On Wednesday, on the next slide, you're going to see Moreno Valley High School girls volleyball. They're on to the third round of the CIF. That's right, third round. Leah Snell is the girls volleyball coach. And we want to congratulate them on their second round CIF playoff against Bassett High School this past Saturday, October 23rd. That win assured them a place in the third round, which is being played Wednesday, October 27th, 6 p.m. at Moreno Valley High School. Everyone is so proud of them. And I know Miss Maddox, you're probably going to be there, right? And you're not? Okay. And Mr. Holguin, he already, he's going to go. And Mr. Johnson, you'll probably be there by with him. And Miss Smith, you may even show up. But they love to see everybody there. I mean, it really means a lot to them. So congratulations to them. And we look forward to another win tomorrow night. Now, here's some really big news of the week. Vista Delago clinches the Inland Valley League title. Now, this was truly epic, I think. But they beat Poly High School last weekend. And, they didn't just beat them, Mr. Johnson. They beat them. They beat them 17-0. And Michael Toohey is the varsity head football coach there. He missed seeing you there, Mr. Johnson. And Dr. Janums is the principal, and she was wondering if your car was going to drive up. But, we were at another football game in the district. But I just want you to know that this week, the finale has become quite the tradition for both schools. They call this a community game that's coming up. That's between Vista Delago and Moreno Valley High School. But that means there was another community game last week between Canyon Springs and Moreno Valley High School. So they call this the community game. So we'll take it. So everybody should come to this, sit on either side. You're still going to be supporting our district. And it's going to be a huge game. They expect a lot of people there. I'll be there. I know Miss Maddox is going, and I know Mr. Holguin and Mr. Johnson, and maybe other people haven't identified yet that they're coming. But I know this will be huge, and we're really proud of our sports teams and how they're performing. So congratulations. And on this next slide is about Vista Delago High School girls volleyball. They went all the way to the second round in the CIF playoffs. They did really good against Garden Grove last weekend, but the athleticism and the sportsmanship displayed on and off the court by this group of young ladies truly holds our Raven values, and they persevered through adversity with grace and integrity. It hasn't been the easiest season, but they've emerged as a team to be reckoned with, and they triumphed on the court and in the classroom. And we just couldn't be prouder of them. Congratulations. And then Valley View High School. Their boys water polo is first place currently. I mean, again, and they beat teams to 0. Nobody even scores. I mean, y'all should watch them play over there. I went over there and I was like, it's amazing. We have an intern in our office that plays on this team. Brittany and what's his name? You can't think of it either? Okay. I should remember all these things. It's Anthony. And so then there's so many kids on there that it's like amazing what they've done. But the Coach Niles is even more amazing. The girls golf are their league champions. Girls tennis is first in league currently. And the boys cross country is second place. So I want to thank Mrs. Johnson for all the support she provides to all of these coaches and teams, and Jonathan Kenyon, who's the athletic director, but the parents in all of these programs for what they do to support their young people in being at these events and doing so well. This next slide is about 2 golfers at Valley View High School. I don't know if y'all know this, but when you golf, you can be in CIF individually or as a team. I don't know if everybody knows that. Did y'all know that? Everybody's shaking their head like, yeah. But they can. So in at Valley View High School, there are 2 young ladies, Ari Long, who's an 11th grade student. She's first place and league most valuable player. And Kennedy Lauderman, who's an 11th grade student. She's second place in all league. Both students did very well this year, and we're very proud of them. They'll be competing in the individual CIF tournament at Western Hills Country Club on October 27th. That's like tomorrow. So isn't it? Yeah, tomorrow. So we wish them a lot of success. They have a lot of athletic prowess, and on the court, in the classroom. Her parents teach at Valley View High School, Ari Long, and we're just very proud of them and congratulate them on this success and thank them for being part of our school district, but really demonstrating that Eagle pride out there. There's a new program in our district this year called the DART program, De-Escalation and Assistance Resource Team. And right now they're working at Badger Springs Middle School and Vista Delago High School. These schools have partnered with the Riverside County District Attorney's Office to work on conflict resolution strategies to assist our students. Badger Springs Middle School and Vista Delago have met with the DART team, and Valley View High School has made a connection to begin meeting with the team as well. And this is done at lunchtime, bring people together to help them resolve conflict in a peaceful and supportive way, but to also give them a space where to address these at. I attended one at Badger Springs one day when I was there, and the students who were in there were grateful for all the support that they get. And that student that's in water polo, that's our intern, is Andrew Nunez, not Anthony, just so y'all know. Things come to me. We work with Aaron Gruelle and the Freedom Riders. I know this is a lot tonight, but a lot happens in between. We even cut things. But on the next slide, I want you to see that we have students that they're going to be highlighted in this book, their stories. And when people told me, people said, "Have you read so-and-so's story yet?" And I said, "No." They said, "You're going to just be aghast at how these kids can write." And Aaron Gruelle works with them to tell their stories. But the cover of this new book, Dear Freedom Rider, that is in the library at Landmark Middle School. And that book cover will be all over the world, in Amazon and bookstores all throughout the nation. And the students here in Moreno Valley helped publish this book, and they wrote about being the teacher they want to see in the world. And just truly proud of what these students shared and what Erin Gruelle has done with them. But that's her next book that's coming out. And our students in Moreno Valley are featured in it. Congratulations. And then Hendrick Ranch interviewed me for they have a studio there. And I just want you to know these students did an amazing job. And there were two young ladies that never met me before. And then two staff members. They have a studio there they took me into. And Miss White had asked me to come for college and career. And they played this interview over the TV there. And they'd asked me questions. They were very poised and very detailed and made me feel very comfortable. And I didn't want to stop talking. So I just want to congratulate that program, the Studio Club at Hendrick Ranch Elementary School. It's truly amazing. And the Parent Project, remember, we have dates that are still happening. And if you give us 24 hours, it'll change your life. And thank you, Dr. Sheffield and her team for having those. And then another program that's beginning is the Lightning Squad. This is through Success for All. It's a grant that our district was provided. And this is one-on-one tutoring and small group tutoring that's going to happen in our district. And the one-on-one tutoring will happen in, there's 11 schools that are in one-on-one, and then small group is in 12. And this will begin, they're planning on emailing all the schools their assignments on Wednesday, October 20th. And the program began on Monday, October 25th. And, this took a lot of effort in a pandemic to hire the tutors and have the rooms set up. But this is Success for All. That is a national program, and we were selected as a district in the nation to be part of this. Nancy Madden, who has worked with our district in other areas. And so we're very excited to begin this. And Smiley Villavicencio, the Director of Professional Development and Digital Learning, will be overseeing this program. And then Dr. Verdi continues to do marketing and outreach. There's about 200 positions available in the district, about 30 something certificated positions, and 100 and something classified positions. We need bus drivers, we need custodians, we need nutrition services workers, instructional assistants. And so there's magnets that people are putting on their cars and riding around with them. And so anything to attract attention. And so there's pop-up tents that go up, and, you know, Dr. Verdi's going to have a job fair on the 13th where people can come right here to the district and they can get everything done, test. Oh, look, here it is. Well, this is the one on December the 4th, but the same thing I think is going to happen on November the 13th. Is that right, Dr. Verdi?
So on the 13th, we may not be able to do some elements of the onboarding, but the one on the 4th, we'll be able to do everything.
Yes, so I'm telling everybody to come on down here.
Yeah.
It's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the 4th, but there's one on the 13th. The one on the 4th, they're going to have fingerprinting and conditional offers of employment. And they're looking for bus drivers, custodians, campus support aides, and instructional assistants. But we do need 36 teachers. And so if you want to stop by, I know they're going to help you, because, you know, it's hard to have 36 vacancies in going to be November. So we are looking for people. And I know that if we keep talking about this, we will fill these vacancies. So thank you, Human Resources, Dr. Verdi, and your team for what you do. And that's how we're reimagining this school year, by doing all these amazing things within our district. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, you're muted.
Thank you, Dr. Kessiora. Very, very in-depth and wonderful report. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Hogan and Ms. Smith, do you all have any remarks or any questions? We move
I'd
on.
like to say thank you, Dr. Kessiora, for an excellent job of highlighting our students and faculty and staff throughout the district and the great things that they're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hogan, anything?
Yeah, no questions, just the same comment. Thank you for all the information and for the recognitions to students, staff for their great accomplishments and great representation of the district. Thank you.
Yeah, and I did both of them. Dr. Kessiora, it's wonderful when you go out and you find these students that are excelling, and then you highlight them. I really appreciate that, and I also appreciate the educators, the teachers who's teaching these kids, and then pass on their names to you, so you will know what they're doing in the classrooms. Just want them to know that we're very proud of them. And as far as I'm concerned, the more the merrier. So I know you had quite a few tonight, but I know there's a heck of a lot more that's been doing a great job in their classrooms and at their schools. So thank you very much for that very in-depth report. Moving on, public comments on agenda items.
Mr. Johnson, you're on E5.
E5. Yeah, I'm sorry. My thumb is right on it too. Staff response to public comments made at previous meetings. Do we have any?
Dr. Kessiora, can you say no?
Oh, my apology. No,
Right.
we didn't have any public comments last time, so I have no comments about the public comments. Thank you.
Okay, good. Moving on to E6, public comments on agenda items. Ms. Claudia, are there any?
Mr. Johnson, can you read the quick summary on the?
Yeah, any person requesting to speak to any item on the agenda may do so at this time or when the item is addressed by the Board of Education. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on each agenda item to 21 minutes. That's by Board Bylaws 9323B, Section 5. Now, per Board Bylaws 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. So, Public comments on non-agenda item. Do we have any? You want me to read that whole?
No. We're on E6, Mr. Johnson. I'm sorry, I have unstable connection, so I want to make sure. Did you ask me if we had any public comments?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, we do have 3 public comments on agenda items, 1 to be read and 2 that are being called in. But the 2 that are being called in is the same speaker, and it's Mr. Roy Bleckert. So currently I have my colleague, Courtney Contreras, who's going to read the first public comment that was submitted. And then Courtney, I'm going to start the timer in a minute. Okay, ready? Go.
Speaker name, Robert Bull. Hello, I would like to have the COVID protocols updated at school and a program for Zoom to be available if kids forced to miss class. If someone reports symptoms, they should be able to be tested the same day. Since showing symptoms, that would mean if related to COVID would test positive, and if just a cold would test negative. In your answer, please let me know who makes the determination on the policy, whether school board or public health. If kids need to miss, they should get Zoom links to each class as to hear the lecture. I understand kids should not be videotaped, so could make audio only. For the protocols, can we add have fever to be sent home or lower numbers of days prior to testing for the COVID vaccination? Will Moreno Valley force kids at high school, middle school, and elementary to get vaccination to attend school? I got the vaccination as I am older. I do not see point to force kids to get something to prevent hospitalization and worse, symptoms when children do not have those issues with COVID. Can exemptions be requested for personal or religious reasons? Are there state laws in regards to vaccinations? They give parents personal choice. I do not wish to pull kids out of school for vaccination, as in school learn to work with others and school provide other after school programs and learning over Zoom full time is worthless. Thank you, Robert Bull.
Thank you, Courtney. All right, our next speaker who is in person is going to speak on agenda item H1A, approval of determination of manner in which to fill the vacancy of trustee area 5 board member, and that is Mr. Roy Blecker. Mr. Roy Blecker, you have 3 minutes, sir. Can you see the timer? Mr. Blecker, can you hear me? Mr. Blecker, can you hear me?
Apparently he's not.
Mr. Blecker, can you hear us?
Should I move on to E7 and come back? If he's got
Sure. I do only have one for E7, Mr. Johnson, and it's also Mr. Blecker.
Oh.
So give me 1 second. Let me give him a phone call real quick. Now unmute yourself. Can you hear me now? Can you hear us now, Mr. Bleckert? You did unmute yourself for a minute. Can you unmute yourself?
Try.
There you go. There you go.
We got it?
You got it. Do you see the timer? Do you see the timer on the screen?
I can see the timer.
Okay, sir, your first board comment is on H1A, approval of determination on manner in which to fill a vacancy of trustee area 5 board member. And you have 3 minutes, and I'm gonna start the timer now.
Oh, on H1A, very simple one, and we'll do both of them in the 3 minutes. My question on Mr. Peden is, when did he inform Moreno Valley Unified School District when he had moved or from the area? So I'll just go into H1B right now. The teleconference is on the agenda. I want to make the point that Gavin Newsom vetoed the bill to keep this on and to keep teleconferencing in. So, and most of the comments in the YouTube channel are referring to when are the public meetings going to be open. I had a conversation with Mr. Johnson, about 2 months ago, and said, yeah, we're working on that. Well, I think it's time. I think you're the only Moreno Valley Unified School District, and I've been to more than one of these meetings, is the only one I know of right now that is holding closed meetings all the time, never open them up. It's time to open up the meetings. It's time to prepare for that. And as the first speaker said, we need to stop the scare tactics that's going on across the whole thing, because in this, we should have a right to redress our grievances of our government. We should be able to talk to our local representatives, because as former Speaker of the House Tip O'Neill said, all politics is local. And it's even more important that we interact and be involved in our community. And one of the barriers to doing that is keeping the meetings closed, keeping us masked up, keeping us where we cannot see each other. And again, it makes me sad that my community, my school district that I went to and lived in this community from the time I was born till this very moment, is the one that is at the point that we are the last ones that I know of that are still holding closed meetings. It's egregious that we have to wear that mantle. And I would like to know, the second thing on this is when and what is the plan to open the meetings in Moreno Valley Unified School District, especially with the governor's order. As soon as the emergency orders are off, these things are not mandatory. So again, let's not be last like we are now. Why don't we lead and lead proudly so we can have pride in our community and also honesty in our government?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Johnson, you can move on to E7.
Okay. E7, we have public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have any, please?
Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry, you do have to read the quick summary abstract on there, sir.
Okay, I will. The Board of Education encourages public comments during this section. Staff may briefly respond to statement or questions, or may ask questions for clarification. The board may refer to staff or other resources for factual information, direct staff to report back at a subsequent meeting, and or direct staff to place the topic on a future agenda. Now, if someone wants to lodge a complaint against an employee, the appropriate form may be obtained at any school or the community education center. An individual speaker shall be allowed to speak for a total of 3 minutes. on non-agenda items, regardless of the number of issues to be addressed by the individual. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on non-agenda items to 21 minutes per Board Bylaws 9323. Twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. Now, with the Board of Education consent, the president may increase or decrease the time allotted for public presentations, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to be heard. The president may take a poll of speakers for or against a particular issue and may ask that additional persons speak only if they have something new to add. Board Bylaws 9323 BC Section 5.
Mr. Johnson, we do have one public speaker on non-agenda item, and that is Mr. Roy Blecker. Mr. Roy Blecker, you have 3 minutes. Just making sure you can still see the timer, and if you can unmute yourself.
Again, okay, we good?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, there's been school boards are coast to coast. We have had a big trouble all across the board. From Loudoun County to Orange County, we've had pedophilia in the libraries, but none other than Loudoun County, which a parent went up to the school board to protest his daughter being sexually abused and or raped. The school board knocked that off or had him arrested. Then the same boy who was in the girls' bathroom committed another alleged rape on that. And our National School Board Association, of the first example, the parent said, we have to stop these domestic terrorist parents, and wrote that letter to the Biden administration, which Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, put into place. We're going to after parents for protesting a heinous crime against a student from the National School Board Association, which I think the California School Board Association is partner to. And I think we had a board member that was president of the California School Board Association. Moreno Valley Unified School District today in this meeting should draft a resolution to either pull out of the California School Board and the National School Board if they're not doing this, if they're not endorsing it. Missouri, Pennsylvania, Ohio just pulled out of the National School Board Association over this heinous action by school boards. They are representing you. And when you join that organization, unless you speak out, you are agreeing with them. The apology is not, it is falling on deaf ears, because none other than Viola Garcia, the one that wrote the domestic parents letter to the Biden administration on behalf of the National School Board Administration, got promoted to a position in the Biden administration. This is what's happening. You wonder why what's happening from coast to coast? This is why, because we don't stand up. Again, Moreno Valley Unified School District should either demand California School Board Association pull out of that National School Board Association, or we're dropping the California School Board Association. Because if you don't, you're sanctioning the letter and what went on, and that would be the ultimate tragedy for every student in our school district. I hope you act, and I hope you act immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Blecker. Okay. Do we have any more speakers, or was that it?
That was it, Mr. Johnson. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thank you again. Oh, I thought he was on that screen. Okay. Then we move on to F, agenda, consent agenda. Okay, all matters in this category are considered to be consistent with the board district goals. There will be no separate discussion of these items. Discussions required. Items may be removed from the consent agenda. Okay, it is recommended to approve the consent agenda. So can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Johnson, I'd like to move that we approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 4, I'm sorry, F4A, which we have already voted.
Yes, we already voted. And Mrs. Smith, are you?
I will second that motion of approving the consent agenda as amended.
Okay, it has been moved by Mr. Hogan and seconded by Mrs. Smith to approve the following consent agenda with that one item F4A1 being pulled. Any questions before I call for the vote? Call for the vote, please.
Just clarification. It's F4A1 and 2.
F4A1 and 2. Okay,
yes, sir.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay, call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Hogan?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye. We have 3 ayes, no nays. Motion carried. Okay. We will move on to the superintendent's discussion items. Item G. Dr. Ketziora, Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. Martin Rex Ketziora, to have discussion on school COVID-19 updates and in-person learning for school year 2021-22.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And tonight, this report also includes the ESSER 3 components, which you're going to be voting on tonight. I have already reviewed that with you, but tonight I'm sharing this at this public meeting, and I'll also share with you how other ways that it's been shared. In our 11 commitments in our vision and our mission and our goals, one of the things that's very clear when I share about the ESSER 3 program is that is meant to connect with our strategic plan and also meant to connect with our 11 commitments and our vision and our mission and our portrait of a graduate. So you'll see direct connections as I share those items. And in my item, this is for discussion. And then Susanna Lopez will have an item about the plan where you will vote on the, we recommend that to the board that you approve this plan. And that's part of the law that we do this at the Board of Education meeting and that we do it by a certain date. So we're just right there, meeting all this. So everyone did a lot of work on this. And so it's towards the end of this, but I'll share more of that as we get to it. So on this next slide, these are some reminders from the state of California. And we remind people of this because as you heard tonight, people sometimes don't know the correct information or they've heard misinformation. And so we continue to repeat things because we know that it needs to be repeated and that people need to hear it more than one time. So on October the 1st, 2021, Governor Newsom made an announcement regarding vaccines for students and staff. He directed the California Department of Public Health to add the COVID-19 vaccine to other vaccinations required for in-person school attendance. The state is waiting, now this is a key part of this, is waiting for FDA approval of the vaccine to implement mandatory vaccines for students attending school in person. So that is not mandatory yet. So part 1 is students in grades 7 through 12, and part 2 is students in kindergarten through 6th grade. Pending approvals, the requirements would be for both students and staff. And there, in the announcement, which this has not all been clarified yet, but it may be as early as January 1st, 2022 or July 1st, 2022 for any student attending in-person instruction. But again, there has been no further information on this. And so this is where we are right now with this. So, and this was not, people sometimes think the Board of Education did this, but we are directed by the California Department of Public Health. And we also, the governor's announcements and orders. So on COVID-19 updates, and again, if y'all have any questions or you want me to clarify something, you can stop me. I don't want you to feel like I'm rushing you or anything.
Nope.
Okay. So this is our COVID-19 dashboard, and the current dashboard reflects cases from September 1st to October 25th, and there's 171 total cases for students and staff. And so this just gives people a understanding of where cases are and where they've been reported. And it can be, you can find this at mvusd.net/COVID-19. So then, and the next slide is about COVID-19 support. And I want to thank the board because this has been a real support to our schools. And we have contact tracers. Every school has now been assigned a contact tracer. And this has really provided some relief in how this was being done. And contact tracers have been assisting many schools with COVID-19 situations. And currently we have remote contact tracers that assist schools from 7:30 a.m. in the morning through 8 p.m. at night. We're working on training in-person contact tracers to help out our schools. But that's an important piece of our COVID-19 program because we were having so many different issues with health techs or nurses not being available, or just school staff being not there. And now we have these remote contact tracers and in person, and that really helps with some stability and some consistency in the information. So just as a reminder, contact tracers are assisting schools with identifying positive cases, contacting families to obtain required information, contacting students or staff who are considered a close contact, informing administrators when notifications are required, and they assist with the management of the isolation room, and they support with reporting cases to the county. So it's more organized, more efficient, and much more effective in dealing with cases as they arise or exposures as they arise. In Moreno Valley, and we've said this before, we have some forms that we use that are used by our schools and our contact tracers. We have the intake form where information is taken. We have the reporting cases where cases are reported. And then we have the post-screening, what's done afterwards when they return to school or work. So all of those are available to contact tracers and to our schools, and they help support an effective and efficient method of tracking how this works and how people get support and assistance. One of the things that's very, just important is, we've involved our alumni in this effort because every day we have instability in our workforce in our district. And so we have hired 5 interns that have come back. They're in college or they work in our community, and they were in our intern program last year. They graduated from our district, and like in one student's case, he wants to be a doctor. So he is very interested in helping us as he can, not taking anybody's job, but supporting schools that may need assistance when they don't have a health tech or they don't have someone that can substitute. And they don't fill in every day in the same position. They work through Anaí Velasco, who's the Director of Communications and Community Engagement. And they've supported 13 schools since they've been hired. And the principals at those schools really value and appreciate, but these students are very interested. This is truly a civic engagement opportunity to help during a pandemic and to help their community. They communicate with students and parents. They do intake forms. They help with isolation rooms. They do filing, sorting, and organizing. And they're very quick, very efficient, and they really enjoy doing it. And I just want to applaud them because they truly do, help each day with so many different situations wherever they're needed. So that's truly a hallmark of our school district, and we're very proud of that. COVID-19 ambassadors. Then we have vaccine and testing requirements. And so just to review, the California Department of Public Health issued a state public health order requiring all school employees to either show proof of full vaccination or test for COVID-19 at least once per week. So so that was an order, and I want to make sure everyone is aware this is an order from the state. It is not something that we as a district developed. The board did not approve this or disapprove it. This was simply ordered by all public schools in California and private schools too. And in compliance with this requirement, the Human Resources team sent a link to all of our staff to Informed K-12 so they could upload their proof of vaccination. And this information is kept confidential in the Human Resources Department. So, board, I'm really proud to share with you, Human Resources has worked very hard, and they've gotten so many people that I think there's very few left. But as of October 26th, the following are the current numbers regarding our staff who've submitted proof of full vaccination. 3,331 staff, including certificated, classified coaches and substitutes. And Dr. Verdi, has worked with the employees to be as gracious and as supportive as possible. And today I was informed, and Dr. Verdi, if this number is not correct, correct me, but I believe the last number you told me was it 25 or was it 21?
By the end of the day, Dr. Kidziora, we were able to get it down to 16.
Oh, see, things change. That's even better. Congratulations. So 16 that still they're working with to provide proof or test, and that's out of that many people. That's quite a feat. And as a board, I know you're proud of that they have worked to provide that information and support staff in getting this completed. So I want to thank them, because that means people can come to work. So thank you. And that's a big part of this. Thank you, Dr. Verdi, and to your team. So, the way that this happened was there's a program called Inform K-12 where they have an invitation, and then they get a form to submit the proof of their vaccination. And that's how this began and how it continues to happen. And then I want you to know that our district has been really forward thinking in developing or providing vaccine opportunities within our community, but not just vaccines, but also other opportunities like job fairs and other resources. So on March 2021, we held the first one, a partnership with Riverside University Health System. That was to help increase the access to all staff who were interested in obtaining the vaccines, one of the first districts to do that. And then you can see the other dates where vaccinations have occurred. You can see that it's gotten smaller as we've done this, but there's still a number of people that still utilize our district and feel comfortable coming here. On November the 13th is the next one. It's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here at the district office. So we continue to do outreach with Riverside University Health System. Our student services team works very closely with Dr. Sheffield and her team. And we're very grateful that people have taken this opportunity and found this beneficial in our community. So testing resources for symptoms and exposures. There's the on-site testing at the Welcome and Registration Center. You may have seen the tents there, and this is for any student or staff member who's experiencing COVID-like symptoms and is identified as a close contact, is required or recommended to test based on the latest guidelines. It's open from 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday and 9 to 2 on Saturday. And on the next slide, you'll see rapid results are on hold until further notice. And there was a situation with the drive-through program, and so that's been delayed and should be back up and running soon. but until that time, the other tests are offered at the school sites. And you know, one of the things that's important is pre-registration is important, and a correct email address. And but we do have the kits at the school for the PCR test results. And Dr. Verdi, do you want to add anything to that, or did I say it right?
Oh, that was correct, Dr. Kidzior, and we worked with employees to make sure they were apprised of all the options because of that that issue there, as you explained it.
Yeah, little you know, delay there, but we're getting that back up and running again. So, are there any questions about any of that? Because I'm going into a new part here, and am I okay to keep moving forward?
As far as I'm concerned, I do want to say thank you for what you've already shown us. I certainly appreciate. I was just taking notes. Certainly appreciate the hard work and the improvements that has been made, but it's only because, you know, the initiatives that's inside of us that say, look, we need to fix this and do this and improve that. So thank you very much. And if we noticed it, then you know the community must be looking at it as well, but just probably haven't had a chance to say anything. But I know that they're proud. So thank you, Dr. Kidzior, you and your staff and your team, as well as all of the principals and the educators at our local schools.
Well, you know, also we should thank our associations because they've been real partners in helping us get this work done. So it takes all of us.
I know. Yep. I should have mentioned you.
And the PCR test, just so y'all know, is available at the centralized location that I talked about. And the results will be given the next business day. And the rapid results are the ones that are on hold right now, just for clarification there. So I'm going to move to the, this is the ESSER 3 that you're going to vote on later to approve, and I hope. And so I just want to say that we went to a lot of effort. Lisa Broomfield distributed a survey to many different groups, which I'll tell you about, but we asked some questions, and you can see on the side there the total number of responses. There were 712, 705, and sometimes they weren't as, some people didn't answer on every one of them. So you can see the numbers dropped to 285 or 299, but a high of 712, you know, responses. So those are questions that we asked to solicit responses. And then you can see that on this slide from certificated staff, what additional staff would you like to add at the school sites to provide direct services to students? And that was an important piece of this. So you can see that behavior support is a very, you can see 318 responses there. And then you can see school nurses as 100, is that 101? Sometimes I can't see the numbers even on the page in front of me. And then you can see assistant principals was 107, but you can see a variety of responses, and you know, depending on the person or how many times they completed the survey. So on the next page is classified staff, and what additional classified staff would you like to add to the school sites to provide direct services? You can see that 324 asked for instructional assistants. I just want everyone to know there are currently vacancies in instructional assistants. So getting instructional assistance is difficult. Campus security officers, 256. Campus support aides, 208. There are also vacancies in those every day. Hard to get substitutes. Instructional assistants, EL, 198. Custodial aides, 184, school community liaison aides, 183. And you can see the rest, health clerk, 110. But those are just some of the things that were pointed out. In the next slide, we're going to talk, in these next slides, we're going to talk about the expenditure plan. So those were the stakeholder engagement and the stakeholder involvement. And I'll emphasize that more in the next slide. But right now, I want to emphasize what the allowable uses are. So Claudia, can you use that mouse and point to anything? Yeah. So that first box there, planning and implementing expanded educational programs, it's the green box. So when you hear what was developed, this is planning and implementing expanded educational programs. And then the red box, training staff, purchasing supplies, and improving facilities for sanitation, another huge piece of this. And then in the orange box, continuous instruction and meal service to students. Does go hand in hand. Below there in the yellow box or the gold box, planning and implementing expanded educational programs. And then a term that's often used in these plans is learning loss, evidence-based interventions that address the disproportionate impact of coronavirus on underrepresented students groups. And, there's been many articles that have been written about how African-American and Latino students have had just different experiences during this pandemic. And that's why this district, who primarily serves Hispanic and African-American students, has received so much funding to support our students and our families during this very difficult time. So we must use 20% or more of the allocated funds to address the impact of lost instructional time. And you'll see in here when I review these expenditures that is present within this plan. So one of the pieces that's important is this.
Can I interrupt for a minute? Please?
Sure.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you help me understand what the difference is between the green and the yellow box, the two left boxes?
They look the same, don't they?
They do.
They are the same, Mr. Holguin. I'm not sure why there are two different boxes on there, but okay. I'm not going to tell you that they're different. They're just different colors on there.
Okay.
So I apologize. I don't think it was meant to be anything else. I think it just got duplicated.
Okay, thank you.
Gosh, you're paying attention. I like that. Yeah. So on this next part, this is a big piece of this is community engagement. So one of the big pieces is the Board of Education and our Local Control Accountability Plan Advisory Board, which is also our strategic planning advisory. They work hand in hand because in Moreno Valley, the strategic plan and the LCAP are the same. I mean, they're accomplished differently, but the goals are the same. So that's one of the ways that we get information. We sent this survey out to every one of these stakeholder groups. And then we look at our parent groups and our families. Our DLAC was given this survey. Our APAC, where DLAC is our District English Learners Advisory Committee. Our APAC is our African American Parent Advisory Committee. We gave it to our schools that had PTAs, and some of our schools do have PTAs, Parent Teacher Associations. We gave it to our CAC, which is our Community Advisory Committee, which is part of our special education program. And every school was asked to give it to their school site council, which develops their plans for Title I and LCAP in their schools. Associations and staff, we gave it to our Classified School Employees Association. We gave it to our Moreno Valley Educator Association. We also gave it to our management staff, our management people. This survey was sent to everybody, and it was sent multiple times to get feedback. And then students, we have a superintendent student LCAP advisory where they were sent this, and they were also asked to solicit input from their ASBs and the respective groups at their schools. So there was a myriad of ways that we sought feedback, and it was done through surveys, and those results have been shared with you. And we detailed each of the comments and went through and looked at what was said and what was asked for, and really tried to look at how we could connect with whatever was asked. Mr. Holguin, I'm so glad that you asked that question, because it sparks answers and it helps people, but it should have said The first box should have said preventing, preparing, and responding to COVID-19, that green box. So that's where the issue is. And it should have said preventing, preparing, and responding to COVID-19. And so that's the difference.
Thank you.
Yeah, did you get that? I just wanted to make sure. Several people texted me and told me the answer.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Thank you.
I'm glad people are listening and watching out there. So these are the actions that are in this plan. So if you look at there's a bottom total there of 21.5 million, and these are strategies for continuous and safe in-person learning. One of the things that we know is we don't know how long this is going to last, but we do know these funds have to be spent within 2 years. So we look at COVID-19 materials and supplies, which can be anything that we use to mitigate COVID-19, but to make sure that we have those things available, like masks, gloves, if they're needed, hand sanitizer, the air scrubbers, just any type of sanitizing that custodial staff need to disinfect, hand washing stations. I mean, the list goes on. And then COVID testing and contact tracing personnel. I just elaborated in the previous report before this about the testing that we're doing in the district, how successful that is, and the contact tracing of the people that we hired to assist us because of the number of exposures and just issues that happen and how people sometimes have misinformation. And this helps keep the staff from having to make those calls and keeps them from, being part of what can be disagreements and helps us have medical people that keeps them supported. One of the things we know is our nutrition services supplies. It's more than it used to be. Nutrition, when it's served, has to be wrapped, and that requires additional containers and different sealing for it to be COVID safe and to not be have contamination. And so there's a lot of additional requirements there in nutrition services. And then we know that we have a lot of certificated and classified staff that are needed to carry out these things. Sometimes that requires overtime. It requires additional staff. It requires additional hours. It can be in a variety of forms, but those are strategies to help our classified and certificated staff be supported for continuous and also safe in-person learning. Custodial support is very big in this, and we cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have custodians and more of them, because I met with the union today, with the representatives of the union and our AMVAMP, and Mr. Steger is our president of our AMVAMP association. He was telling Jolynn Neal and Connie Pruitt how one custodian could do it at an elementary school, but with restrooms having to be sanitized and cleaned more often, just all the cleaning that has to take place, all the just precautionary measures. He just says that people are really, that they need more. And so that's part of this, is giving custodians more support. And then we know that our CTE programs, our athletic programs, and our STEAM programs require additional supplies, because in many instances, they used to share items. And today, that's not something that we encourage. We actually discourage it. Yes. And so we have to provide individual materials for each student. And when you have a district of 32,000 students, and where every student is given an opportunity and there's equity, that comes up to some additional requirements for those classes that we offer. So that comes up to $21.5 million in that area. So then I'm gonna move to the next slide. And this is addressing the impact of lost instructional time. And so this comes up to 19.5 million. And do you remember it said, I think in a prior slide, that it said on that one slide in the beginning that you must use 20% or more of your allocated funds. And in our case, that'd be 18 million to address the impact of lost instructional time. So we're allocating 19.5 million, which is actually above 20%. So we know that English learners need more support. They need more materials. They need more training. We have lots of new teachers in our district, and that's always increasing because people are retiring and we're hiring new people. So there's lots of training that's needed to support English learners. One of the things that you're going to be talking about tonight, later on in an agenda item, is itinerant teachers. And you know, each school, we're trying to increase our attendance, but when students have to be quarantined or isolated, or they have to be home for certain exposure periods, they get independent study. This is what the state requires. And so the assignments have to be given. So part of these itinerant teachers' responsibilities are to help with those assignments, to make sure that they're given, but they're also received, and then they're documented. So that'll be a new thing in each school where 2 to 3 teachers would be assigned to each school, depending on the size, could be 1 to 2. But itinerant teachers who help with attendance and help with independent study and help with substituting. Every day there are unfilled positions. And, you know, it's one of those things where school sites don't want to combine classes, or they don't want to, you know, put students in a different area because there's, you know, they have staffing needs. So this is to help with that too. There's also support for students with disabilities. We know that social emotional learning is extremely important for students with disabilities, offering more counseling, offering art therapy, music therapy, and different therapies that students who are in special education benefit from. And so these are contracted services to provide those supports to students. So when they're in classrooms, they get those kind of therapies that help them do better academically. I want to thank the board for purchasing the property out in front of the building, or, you know, going through with that process, because the parent center is going, you know, the one we had was that single wide trailer, and we have a house.
Yes.
And that's going to really be an added benefit of, you know, how we can support and serve our parents right here at our district in a place that's larger and has more capacity to serve and support them. So there's a portion of money that's dedicated for that. We do know that athletics is very important in our district. And so there are funds in here to give coaches and to give athletic directors additional 1/6 assignments. And those assignments are in addition to their regular day to pay them to tutor and to counsel and to support students in a positive way, so that there's a greater connection between athletics and the people who support them. Yes. And we know there's great benefit to that. And we look forward to that being developed at a greater level to make our athletic teams and our sports teams perform even greater than they currently are. And so that's a big piece of this. Another area that, you know, Ralph Reuter, who's the coordinator of mental health in our district, talked to me. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask just a quick question. The athletic directors, will they be the ones that's going to be supervising their coaches, or how will that work? Or
well,
do you know?
the athletic directors, Mr. Johnson, are part of the bargaining unit. They don't really supervise the principals. There's an assistant principal that's assigned to athletics, but they do help coordinate and schedule. So that's a big part of what they do.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
And provide those. They provide that information to the principal or the assistant principal that's in charge of it, so that they can, you know, approve it or make sure that it's implemented appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
One of the areas that Ralph Reuter has talked about in that we know from this pandemic that there's a lot of instability within our families. Unfortunately, there's a lot of just issues within communities and families, and you know, Moreno Valley is no stranger to that. And so we know that marriage and family therapists are needed at each of our high schools to deal with domestic violence and other personal issues that students sometimes have difficulty talking about, or have, you know, getting someone that's trained. We do know through our BAR program, Building Assets, Reducing Risk, that when we do risk reviews, that we find out about families. And we know that that when students have siblings in high school, that we can help the whole family. So there'd be a marriage and family therapist assigned to each of our high schools. Another area is counselors. You know, we have 7 counselors at each high school, 3 at each middle school, and 2 at our, we even have 3 at MVUSD, 2 at March Mountain. We do know that our elementary schools, they really need another counselor at some of them, even though we have a full-time one. Armada Elementary, you know, and again, you know, I look at things like free and reduced lunch rates and homeless and foster youth. Sunnymead Elementary School, Butterfield Elementary School. These are larger elementary schools, and Cloverdale Elementary School, which has one of the highest foster youth populations in our district, but also in the county, and homeless populations. So counseling is really needed, additional counselor to support students. We know that our younger students are having troubles coming back to school and being part of a learning community after being at home and being in different circumstances. So we look forward to adding those additional counselors to those programs. We don't know the impact still of our MVUSD, Moreno Valley Online Academy. So we do know that students still need support. There's about 1,200 students that are enrolled in our Moreno Valley Online Academy, which we're very proud of. And we continue to enroll students. And so that virtual learning and credit recovery, we have to provide support there. In the visual and performing arts, we continue to expand those programs and look at ways to give students access. Our new visual and performing arts coordinator looks for talents that people may possess. And like in one recent applicant, she found out that he can do photography. And so she's going to think about how to offer photography to students. So, you know, there's all kinds of ways to try to access students, but to also give them something that they're interested in. And then we also know that beyond technology, that our teachers are facing a multitude of issues in classrooms, and that they need additional materials and supports to help students. And there's quite a bit of money dedicated to helping that happen at each school. So that's $19.5 billion in that area, which is over the 20% that's required. Then there's some required categories of planned expenditures, and these are other uses. One of the things we do know is that our schools, while they've expanded their counseling programs, they don't really have a place where students can go and they can develop better mindfulness, and that they can sometimes talk to someone in an environment that is more conducive to someone just listening to them, kind of like a living room at a home, or someplace that's comfortable and not located in the office. So every school in our school in our district is going to have a wellness room, not a center, a room where counselors and students can go to readjust and to talk about issues and meet with people to become better and to think through some of their issues and challenges. We do know that educational technology is something that's going to be needed, and we've seen that through distance learning, but now every student, we're one-to-one, and we know there's more technology needed in our classrooms. So there's a considerable amount of money for infrastructure, but also for hardware and software and student support in that. Another area that we've put in here, and we don't know that we're going to be able to do both of these, but we listed them, was our school cafeterias at Armada Elementary and Midland Elementary. Armada at one time before the pandemic served up to 900 students. And when that school was first built, it wasn't equipped really for that many children and in the conditions. So the cafeteria there needs to be, there are plans that have already been approved. So that's why that could be done rather quickly. Midland, it may take longer in a different way, but we did put that there. And then one of the things that's really going to change our libraries is we want them to become STEAM innovation centers. Every middle and every elementary school will be a STEAM innovation center. I mean, you'll be so proud to walk in there and to see students when they're in the library, not only reading, but creating, developing, becoming, engaging engineers and doing science, technology. There'll be an interactive classroom in there where a teacher can take a group of students and work with them on a project while the librarian takes them to work and to read books with them. And they'll change out and do different things. You can even do things with parent volunteers and more in some places. But it's a transformation of our libraries into what they are now, and they'll become just more engaging and more 21st century. And will change how children feel and what they create as they go through the school day in their elementary and middle school experience. And that's $49.6 million. So in this plan, in order to do all of this, this requires full implementation of the plan. In the plan, there is also ongoing progress monitoring as indicated in the plan. Some of the items are monthly, some are weekly, some are every 2 weeks. There are different benchmarks when they'll be monitored and by who, and that is included in the plan. There'll be updates to the Board of Education, just like we do now, and there'll be quarterly reporting to the state, which is required. So as we do this, we've analyzed, we've gathered, we've described, we've interpreted, we've discussed. Now we're planning, we're going to choose, design, and monitor, and we're going to act. We're going to implement, we're going to communicate, we're going to monitor, and then we're going to reflect and look to see what's happening and go through this cycle of continuous improvement. But all of this to help our students become the best versions of themselves, supported by adults in our learning community and additional adults to help our teachers and staff have more support for students instead of having to do so much on their own. So when you get to the item in the business services section, that's where we'll ask you to vote on this. Are there any questions on this plan right now or anything else that you'd like to know that I didn't mention or something you want clarification on?
One thing, I'm very happy at everything that you've just presented. It makes you very proud to see that we're forging ahead and we're giving our students in our community the very best that they could receive any place. And I'm sure that the parents or guardian, whatever it may be, are also as equally proud as we are for what we've been doing for their kids. And so thank you and your staff, Dr. Getzior, for everything that you guys have done. And I'll continue to.
Mr. Johnson, I think, two architects of this who really took everything and worked together. Well, I have to add, I guess three. Would be Maribel Maddox, Susanna Lopez, and Lisa Broomfield, because it took a lot of sifting through a lot of different information to get to these points, and educational services directors really, developed and brought forward a lot of information. But everybody had a part in it, but I just want to say that they really collaborated and communicated. And then also working with our associations, they were presented this and they've had this shared with them and several times. But that's so that, we could get additional input and continue to ask clarifying questions, but truly a collaborative process.
And you can only do that when you have a great working relationship with everybody. And that's quite evident that we do. And so you're right. Thank you to the entire staff and everyone who's had anything at all to do with that. So,
I'd like to say this is a very, very thorough presentation. I'm just blown away by the amount of work that went into this, putting all of this information together. And I'd like to add my thanks for everyone who participated, for Maribel, Dr. Kedziora, everyone on the staff that helped put this together. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to add my comment here. I think besides thanking you, Dr. Kedziora, and your team, of course, Maribel Maddox and Susana Lopez and everybody who had anything to do with it, including the associations, of course. I have to say, this is an amazing presentation, but more than just the presentation today and a PowerPoint and your explanation, I think there is a lot of meaning behind this presentation, because you are utilizing monies that are coming to the district because of certain conditions. But the way you're planning and using this money not only covers the requirements or the expectations for the use of those funds, but you're doing things that are moving the district even further in the I guess in the future for our students. Because some of the things that I saw there, I don't think they were in the minds of those that released the funds or that planned or that asked for the funds to come to the school districts. So you're meeting the expectations, and then things, for example, the library is becoming STEAM innovation centers. I don't think that was in the minds of those that say, you need this money, do something with it. And I just have to applaud all those that thought about all these areas, and the fact that you are at the same time addressing any potential equity issues, and you are providing the students with a much better environment at every site and all students. And I think that is something to be applauded. So I know this is a lot of work to this point. I imagine the conversations and the convincing and to making sure everybody's in agreement. I can just imagine those conversations. But then before that, giving the opportunity to the stakeholders to give their input and to provide that opportunity for them to say, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what needs to be there. That's something to be thankful for too. And then going into the future, there's going to be a lot of work to implement all this. And in current times when there's a lot of open positions, a lot of people missing, a lot of just a lot of need for more people being there, you're still going to be able to do all these amazing things. So thank you for putting this plan together. And from my position, and I'm sure that Mrs. Smith and Mr. Johnson feel the same way, and they can say it and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we are ready to support you in this. And I know the action is coming, but I just have to say, this is something that I'm ready to support you in this and continue supporting you, because it's not just a decision tonight. As the ongoing monitoring that you explained is going to be to the Board of Education, is going to be to the state, and it is an ongoing process. So for my part, and I'm hoping my colleagues join me here, I'm ready to move forward with this, because our students deserve this, and all of you are doing exactly what the students deserve and need for that successful future. So thank you so much for all the work and this presentation tonight.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you said, Mr. Holguin, about what's fixing to happen or what's going to happen, because Dr. Verdi and his team, if they weren't already busy, they're going to be advertising a lot of positions and additional positions. And that takes a lot of work to get those things into place. And then Susanna Lopez's division in business services, the facilities, and you're going to talk to Sammer in just a minute. But that's a big part of this, is designing these STEAM innovation centers, which they're already doing, walking the schools, but getting the materials, purchasing, ordering those things and getting things in. Today, I went to Kaiser to pick up a prescription and they told me it'd be an hour. It's never been an hour. They closed a pharmacy at Heacock and they said that they don't have enough help. And so I had to leave because I couldn't wait an hour. And they said, well, come back when you have an hour at least, because that's what's going to happen. So I just think that, in this pandemic and our new norms and just reimagining our world, having the money is one thing, but accomplishing it is a whole nother piece that is very challenging in the current environment that we're in. But I have no doubt it can be done, but I'm looking forward to it being done. So, especially for the students, as you say, to have these opportunities and these experiences. Thank you all for your support.
Well, thank you all for everything that you guys do. Okay, if there are no more questions, I'll move on to discussion. Let's see, where am I? I did the superintendent discussion. Okay, G2 business services discussion information items. Is that Susanna Lopez?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
You're welcome.
This evening, we have a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee annual presentation. This is one of the requirements since we did pass Measure M back in 2014. And according to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee bylaws, the committee shall present to the board on an annual basis an update in a public session. And so this evening, I am pleased to introduce our Director of Facilities, Samer Al-Zubaidi, who will do the introduction because he works very closely with our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. So Samer.
Ms. Lopez, thank you so much for the introduction. Board President, respected board members, Superintendent Dr. Kudziora, I enjoyed your report. Great job. Thank you so much. And I am really honored to be part of the district's team to help the students, the community, and everyone, and honored to work under the leadership of Ms. Lopez and your leadership and the direction of the board. Respected cabinet members and community, good evening. My name is Samer Al-Zubaidi. I am the Director of Facilities for the Moreno Valley Unified School District. On November 4, 2014, the voters of the Moreno Valley Unified School District authorized Measure M under the Proposition 39 statutes for the total issuance of $398 million in general obligation bonds. And the Citizen Oversight Committee actually was established as such as a requirement for the Prop 39. And this committee is dedicated to informing the public concerning the expenditures of general obligation bond proceeds through active review and the publishing of annual reports. And tonight we have the chair of the Citizen Oversight Committee, Mr. Adam Sinner, giving us the committee's annual report. And I'm happy to introduce him to you. Mr. Sinner.
Thank you, Samer. Good evening, board members, Dr. Kedziora and cabinet. My name is Adam Sinner. It's my pleasure to bring to you the annual report from the Measure M Citizens Oversight Committee. I'd like to first introduce and acknowledge the members of our committee that may be in attendance tonight. I'm going to read off their names: Virgil Chansey, Bianca Gilliam, Christina Orta, LaDonna Jemson, Melissa Neary, Steve Thornton, Steve Wallace, and Karen Whitehead. I would also like to thank prior members for their commitment and participation in our committee. The Moreno Valley Unified School District Board of Education voted on June 17th, 2014 to place a $398 million bond measure on the November 4th, 2014 ballot. The committee approved Measure M, the community approved Measure M for $398 million with a 64% yes vote to repair existing facilities, as well as construct new facilities for students of Moreno Valley Unified School District. As set forth in Prop 39, the purpose of the Measure M Citizens Bond Oversight Committee is to review and report on proper expenditures of taxpayers' money for school construction on the Measure M bond projects. The Oversight Committee conducted quarterly business meetings, which included review of facilities projects and project expenditures. The 2019-2020 annual financial and performance audit report was sent to the committee by email on February 18th, 2021. For fiscal year 2021, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee held meetings on the following dates: August 13th, 2020, November 17th, 2020, April 14th, 2021. In accordance with the provisions of the Ralph M. Brown Act, the committee conducts meetings for the public's attendance and participation. Meeting agendas and notices are sent to committee members and posted within the required period of time. Notices are posted at the Moreno Valley Unified School District Community Education Center, Welcoming Registration Center, local library, and district website. Meeting notices, agenda, minutes, and all other documents received by the committee are matter of public record and are available on the Moreno Valley Unified School District website. On behalf of the Measure M Citizens Oversight Committee, I am pleased to inform you that the district is in compliance with Article 13A, Section 1B3 of the California Constitution, and the current projects are authorized under Measure M. In addition, the committee has provided you with a Measure M project update with your agenda package for your review, which I'd like to quickly share if it's okay with the board. All right, well, Claudia, if you don't mind advancing the slides, we're going to go through some pictures of some of the projects that are involved with our Measure M bond. So I don't want to get into too many of the details, but you can see some of the financial figures. So far, we have 166 million project expenditures so far. And we recently authorized Series C of the proceeds. Can you advance to the next slide, please? All right, this is a financial summary breakdown of the impacts by campus. So all of the financial figures are broken down by campus and even broken down by PO purchase order number and itemized down to the penny. So I don't want to go through each individual one, but you can see that it's well organized. Advance to the next slide, please. All right, so these are some wonderful pictures of the improvements to the Moreno Valley High School Building B multi-purpose room and library. So these are construction pictures showing progress. You can advance to the next slide, please. At Moreno Valley High School in Building C, this is a conversion of the old home economics room. You can see modern learning environments and a modern accessible restroom. Advance to the next slide, please. It's also at Moreno Valley High School, this modernization of buildings D and E, science labs, and special education classrooms. You can see some of the 360-degree learning walls and some of the modern features within the classroom. Next slide, please. This is the Moreno Valley High School modernization of their lecture hall. Definitely worthwhile. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this in any other high school in the area. It's very impressive. Next slide, please. Next slide. Here we go. This is, I think, one of the shining stars in the community right now. This is the Moreno Valley High School Performing Arts Center, which we're all anxious to see up and running and the students enjoying. These are renderings of the audience chamber and some exterior elevations showing what the building will look like. I know that many of you have already taken some tours of the facility and it's very impressive. Next slide. These are actual photographs of some progress of the building almost complete. So I think we're getting really close to being able to utilize the building, and hopefully the students will take advantage of all the new modern features that the building offers. Next slide, please. This is Canyon Springs High School multi-purpose room. This is a great addition to the campus, very large open area with flexible spaces. You can advance to the next slide. These are the same building under construction. You see how impressive the skeleton of the building is. Lots of new modern features and safety implemented as well. Next slide. This is a rendering of the exterior of that same building, which you can see the outdoor eating area and of course the modern feel and design of the building. And these are also renderings of the Canyon Springs modernization. So you can see some of the modern interior features, the modern lighting, the nice flooring and finishes, nice wide open areas with plenty of exterior lighting and new teaching walls. There's a lot of new features that are going to be implemented in this project. Next slide, please. This is a great addition to the school district. This is the brand new Moreno Elementary School, which is located on Nason and Bay on the east end of town. This is going to be a great replacement for the existing Moreno Elementary School, which you can see here. This is the existing old Moreno Elementary School, which will be reutilized to house the Rainbow Springs Elementary campus. Next slide, please. Sugar Hill Elementary School restroom additions. So these are some additions for the staff, kindergarten, and special needs students. It's a standalone restroom facility, very modern and accessible. Next slide. This is Valley View High School. It's a 2-story addition with 8 science classrooms and 22 standard classrooms. This is also going to be an amazing addition to the existing facility. Next slide. Sunnymead Elementary School, multi-purpose room, food service, and VAPA building. So this is also going to be a great new building, modernization of an existing building. So this is really going to be great for that school. Sunnymead Middle School modernization, modernization of classrooms, science labs, visual and performing arts, and kitchen in buildings A, B, C, and D. Next slide.
That was the last one of the picture.
That was the last slide. So
yes.
I think it's really important for the public to see some of these photographs of the construction utilizing the public funds. It's really important for us to see how the money is being spent and to know that it's being spent properly for the benefit of our students to support student achievement.
Mr.
If there's any questions, or Samar, if you have any comments.
My comment is just for the Valley View High School. You just remind me the 2-story building. We're going to open bids in 2 weeks from now for the new story building, just as FYI.
Mr. Johnson, you're on mute.
Yeah, no, I asked, could I see that elementary school building again? I think I've seen it, but I wasn't sure.
Give me 1 second. Are you talking about Moreno Elementary?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Johnson.
That's the one that's under construction. Let's see, yeah. Oh, it is it's a 2-story, right? Oh, yeah.
The middle section is 2-story, Mr. Johnson. The middle section, the middle administration section, it has a 2nd story with the upper grades on the 2nd floor.
Yes, okay. Okay, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Very nice. I like that big M on the left side too. That's what I want to see.
You good if I stop sharing, Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, thank you, Samar.
Okay.
I'm fine.
You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Johnson, I don't know if you want to let the rest of the board know if they have any comments or questions regarding the presentation.
Okay, so he's done. Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Hogan, Ms. Smith, you guys have any comments or questions or concerns about what we've just seen? I know you must be elated as I am.
I'll let Ms. Smith go first.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Holguin. I know you always like to be last. So I will say, I am just, every time I see this, every time I see what we're doing in our district, I just feel blown away by the progress that we're making and the great facilities that we're providing for our students. You see many other districts that have aging facilities and they're not doing anything about it. We are addressing the needs of students throughout the district. We're not just focusing on one school and saying, oh, we got a bond issue and now we're going to build, you know, just one school. We're making upgrades in all areas of our district. And I'm happy to see that the vast majority, in fact, all of our students will benefit from the great facilities that we're providing. I'd like to thank the Measure M committee for all that they do. My husband was on the Measure M committee for a couple of years, and I know it's not an easy job and sometimes feels a little thankless. So thank you, Mr. Sinner, for everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Yes, I also want to thank the members of the committee, Mr. Sinner, and all the other members, current and past members, for all the work and for keeping this. It is important to keep this committee ongoing because of the amount of dollars that the taxpayers allowed, and thanks to the taxpayers for passing that bond in 2014. Without their support, this would not be possible. So we see all this progress in the district, like Ms. Smith says, in every single school. And that is great because it's serving the needs of our students, and it's, like I mentioned before, moving the district even a step further and creating an environment for the students that perhaps without the bond, definitely without the bond would not be possible. So thank you to the voters, thank you to the members of the committee. And I also want to make a note that this presentation that we just saw is a public document, that it is accessible. You can access it in the website and under the agenda. The link to that document is there, because I think it is important for the community to see, like it was stated before, to see where the money is going, how the projects look, what the progress, how is the progress going in every site, and you know, the buildings that we had seen, different sites, different locations, and you know, like everybody else, I'm dying to see that performing arts centers functioning. I think that is the best, and you know, but there are a lot of other projects that are just amazing in our district and here in our city for our students. So extremely proud of that. So thank you for all the work, and thank you for that oversight, because it's very important, it's critical, that oversight. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. And I'd like to close by saying, I want to thank our community. Ever since I've been on the board, they've always worked with us, whatever we've asked for. We've not had anybody to come back and say, you don't need this, and you shouldn't do that. I think they are just as proud as we are. Do want to make sure that we, the community know, and the city know, we appreciate them, and we appreciate the fact that they have allowed us to utilize the monies that we receive to improve our schools as well as our facilities. And I know I've already said it once before, but I'm going to say it again. Dr. Ketziora and his entire cabinet. Samar is one of my very good friends. I may not be one of his very good friends, but he's one of mine. I'm just joking around with that. But I do want to know, do want to say that I really appreciate the time when he started here and started working with us and making sure that all of these changes, these ideas that we had came to fruition. So Sam, I want to thank you and your team, and Dr. Ketziora, goes without saying, thank you for your vision for the students in this area, in our city, and for our entire district. You've made a tremendous difference, and we all appreciate it. And I believe the city feels the same way too, because if they didn't, we'd hear some things about it, and we have not heard that. So thank you guys for a great report. Certainly appreciate it.
Mr. Johnson, one of the things that Mr. Payton did was, after he talked to the board members, he called on the superintendent to make sure I said something.
Okay.
And I don't want the community to think that I don't appreciate or value something, because people will say, why didn't the superintendent say something?
Good point.
I know you're just like trying to hurry and get done, but Ms. Smith is like, Dr. Ketziora needs to say something, you know, I can see it. So So I just want to say, Mr. Center, thank you for being a community member, but also your wife is a teacher in our district and your children go to school in our district. And that means a great deal to me. You know, I extol the virtues of children in our district every opportunity I get. And so, you know, your involvement, I know you work a full-time job in San Bernardino City Schools, and to come here and contribute to our community and to be part of this really, you know, is something that we cannot say thank you enough. And all the people that serve on the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee with you for what they do and how they oversee these funds to make sure that they are utilized as they were intended to be used is truly something that we cannot ever, you know, let you know how much we appreciate. And I want to thank Sammer and his team for what they do and for allowing me to interrupt and to say stuff. You know, I don't know if y'all know, but I came from another district before I came here, and the superintendent there knew that I had an eye for design. And so he told people, don't ever let anything happen unless he has something to say about it. Now, I used to love that. Now, other people didn't. But so if you ever drive by that district office or that place there, you know, I had my footprint everywhere. And I appreciated, I don't have a degree in architecture or facilities, but I do like the way things look when they're done and how they look. And so I appreciate that what we leave to our community, the legacy that we're leaving. And, you know, when I was at Serrano one day, you know, there's a plaque up there with the board and my name. It was the first school wherever I had as superintendent. And a little boy walked up to me and he said, do you know those people? And I said, yes. And he said, aren't they all dead? And I said, no, I'm right there. And he goes, oh, I thought they were all dead. I go, no, the board is here. But, you know, it's interesting when somebody sees something like that. But it just, you know, every time Mr. Holguin and Mr. Johnson and Ms. Smith walk and go visit schools, they look at the dedication plaques at each school. And they remember when things were built, the date, the construction, you know, it's a history. And I'm very proud to say that on January the 8th will be the 60th birthday of Moreno Valley Unified School District. So that's the day that we'll have our State of the District, hopefully in our new Performing Arts Center. But it was at 6:30 in the morning that board meeting was held. 6:30 in the morning. I have you know, Brenda Tejas found that we were writing a grant and we had to know when the inception of this place was and nobody knew. And she found it. And I just want to say 60 years, January the 8th, and this is part of that history and this legacy that we're leaving to our community. And, you know, living here for the past 30 years or 27 or 28, I forget how much, but, you know, I didn't always work here, but I have just a deeper admiration and respect for what happens here, but for what children receive when they come to school here. I think, you know, Miss Smith, you know, when you go visit schools, you're always so proud when you see certain things, and it gives you a lift, you know, to know that you had that you're expecting that and it's happening. Mr. Holguin, you know, who attends every event he gets a chance to, but and Mr. Johnson, you know, he comes when he's not going to some other place, but I just think that what's happened here on the sports fields and the gymnasiums and all of the athletic fields and just what's happening in all the academic areas can only enhance and make our district a future ready place for students that whoever will come here, you know. So I just want to say, Mr. Center, thank you, and to your family. But thank you, Sammer, too, for being here. I don't want you to think I don't thank you, and Ms. Lopez, because you oversee this. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that too, Dr. Kedziora, and I want to say thank you to the board, the community, and business services, and of course, Dr. Kedziora for all the hard work that you guys do for our students to support student achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. And I have just one more thing I want to say too. The other day I had to go past Canyon Springs. I've passed them before, but I had to go past Canyon Springs. I was going to meet a friend, and I actually parked in the street as if something was wrong with my car, and I just looked at the site. I don't know how many of you ever pass that way, but if you do pass, stop and park on the street for about maybe 10, 20 seconds and take a look at that beautiful field as well as those beautiful buildings that's coming up there. So Dr. Kedziora, I tip my hat to you and everybody else who helped design that, and having it right there where everybody who passed on that street can see it. It's a wonderful sight, and I know Jesus passes there every day, and I'm sure he pulls over himself and take a look and say, just think, I had something to do with that. Joking aside, it is great. It looks wonderful, and it will make you pull over and park and just take a look. So Samra, thank you and your team, and Dr. Kedziora, thank you for the vision of that.
Thank you.
Any more questions before we move on? Okay, I think we're now on, I have my hand, Superintendent's action report. Yeah, action.
So, Mr. Johnson, on this item, H1A, I'm having some echo, but it's worked out now. Okay, I'm good. H1A, it's the approval of determination of the manner in which to fill the vacancy of trustee area 5 board election. So in that, I just want to remind the board that Mr. Peden submitted a letter of resignation that was dated for the October 12th board meeting and was effective October the 13th. Just to remind the public and people when that happened. So you did not receive that until the last board meeting, October the 12th, and this had to be certified through the election commission. What's that called, Claudia? The Registrar of Voters, or yeah. And so I just wanted you to know, to remind you of that. And then October the 13th was the first effective day of his resignation. So you did not, you could have possibly at that board meeting decided, but you didn't have to. And so now at this board meeting, you have two options, and we don't have the resolution on here because you're just determining the manner in which to fill the vacancy. And then the resolution would be on the next board agenda in the November meeting for how you're filling the vacancy. Is that right, Claudia?
They would have the resolution. If they choose to go through the special election at the next board meeting, we will have the resolution for that.
Okay.
Now, if you choose the provisional appointment, that's a, you'd have this, you've done this before. All of you've done this. That would be the 60-day count begins. It began on October the 13th, the first day of his resignation when it was effective. And then we have until December the 12th to appoint someone. There'd have to be applications made available, a special board subcommittee to review the applications, a lottery drawing to determine the order of which applicants would be interviewed, a special meeting to conduct the interviews and finalize the appointment, which would have to occur before December 12th. And the board meeting in December is
December 14th.
December 14th. So I just wanted to say December the 12th is a Sunday. So that has to occur before then. And that's if you chose the provisional appointment, which is what I gave to you, option 2. And option 1 is a special election. And that would be to approve a resolution to call to order a special election with the Registrar of Voters Office, special election dates provided by that office. I want to thank Claudia, who stayed on the Registrar of Voters Office, because we weren't getting all the dates, and I'm very glad that she continued to discuss with them. So the earliest we could have an election is Tuesday, April the 12th, and the latest would be Tuesday, November the 8th. And this is for a term that expires in 2024.
24. Okay.
So tonight, I think you're having a discussion. And Claudia, you can help with this. Do you want to add something?
No, I mean, it's not necessarily just a discussion. It is an action item if you do wish to take action to either choose option 1, which is to go for the special election, or option 2 to appoint. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Claudia and Dr. Ketziora. So, colleagues, do you have any thoughts or ideas? What you think we should do? We'll start with Mrs. Smith, or either one, Mr. Hogan. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I can tell you what I think. So we could have an election as early as April 12th. Is that what you were saying, Claudia?
Yes, that's what she said.
With any other sort of an election, or would we be on our own to do that?
Currently,
I'm just wondering about the cost.
Currently, right now, we are the only ones. There isn't anybody else on there. But that doesn't mean that there couldn't be anybody else added to that.
You know, one of my things is I believe in a representational government. Therefore, I think that we need to have a full board as soon as possible. That doesn't mean I want to appoint. I don't like appointing. I know that Mr. Johnson and Mr. Holguin feel like they represent everybody in the district. I feel like I can represent everyone too. But there's a reason that our Constitution is based on representational government. And I am a strong believer in having more than 1 or 2 people on the board. If Mr. Johnson could represent everybody, I don't know why the rest of us are even here. But the fact is that we need representation from all of our community. And the sooner we can fill that and have people from all of our community represented and feel like they have somebody in their district on the board representing them, I think the better. On the other hand, when we have tried to appoint, I didn't like the appointment process last time. I didn't like having to choose between several well-qualified people, myself, without a vote of the people. I think the voice of the people is always good. And that we should, so I would be in favor of going for a special election as soon as possible, because I also have that piece where I believe everyone needs to be represented. Everyone in our country needs to be represented. In this case, everyone in our community, in our school district needs to be represented. And I'm sorry if that goes against what some other people feel, but that's a very strong feeling that I have. My personal preference would be to go for a special election and do it as soon as possible, which would be April 12th. And that's my feeling in total.
Okay, Mr. Hogan, any thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think there's a reason why we have five seats on the board. And there's a reason why the district was divided in 5 trustee areas. So every trustee area has a representative, a board member. So we need to have our 5 board members, no question about that. And right now we have 2 vacancies, and we have the opportunity here today to either choose a person that we like, that we consider qualified, that we consider capable of filling the position, and say, I want to appoint so-and-so and starting tomorrow. We have that opportunity. But at the same time, I think that like Ms. Smith mentioned, in the past, we've had several opportunities to do the same thing. But I heard the voice of the community strongly saying that it is not our choice. It should not be our choice. It should be the people's choice. It should be the people electing the representatives to this board, just like I was, just like Ms. Johnson, just like Ms. Smith, just like many others have been in the past. That voice has been very strong, very, very loud, and I respect that. I respect that voice. So even if I wanted to appoint somebody, and I can think of several people that I would like to appoint, I'm not going to go that direction because, again, I respect the community's voice. Just a couple of minutes ago, we were talking about the Measure M. That was a decision of the voters. That was a decision of the taxpayers. They voted for the bond, and that's why we can do what we can do with the facilities in our district. So that voice is loud, strong, and again, I respect that. So I'm going to be in agreement with Ms. Smith. We need to allow the people to express their voice, express the election, go through the election process. And yes, if we can do it sooner, great. But at the same time, we need to consider the cost of that election. So we need to look at the economical side. We need to look at the representation. And just, so I guess what I'm saying is that I support going through the election process and allow the voters to elect a representative for that trustee area. And just for clarification, Ms. Smith, I don't mean to say that I represent everybody in the school district. I have a trustee area and I represent my trustee area. And I think the comment at the last meeting was made just for that people to know that that we don't have two representatives in those areas. And if there's a need, we could help, but not necessarily that we represent those areas because there's no representative right now there. I'm here to support if there's a need. If there's no need, it's fine. I represent my area, but I'm not, by no means I feel like I represent the entire district. In the past, that was the situation that we didn't have trustee areas and we represented everything. But now once again, the trustee areas were designed based on the community, on the whole process, and I respect that. And I'm not going to step out of that respect area. Once again, I support the voice of the community, and I'll go for the election process like you do, Ms. Smith. I agree with your position, and so let's go that direction. So
I do have one more question for Claudia, and that is, can we request a vote by mail only election, which might be less expensive than having polling places? And is it within our purview to request that from the county?
Yes, we can request, give me 1 second. Sorry, there's an echo. Okay, so to do the mail-in, there is a cost between $170,000 to $180,000. To actually do a polling place election, you're looking at between $200,000 to $110,000, and these are just estimated figures.
Okay, so the vote by mail only is less expensive.
Yes.
Then I would go with that. Okay, sorry for.
Okay.
I guess I'm done with my comment, Mr. Johnson.
Are we done? Okay, we're done. Okay, good.
Support the
So it's
election.
up to me. Okay, good. So let me start off by saying that I'll support the election as well. However, Jesus, I'm sure you're aware that when I was on the county board, I was the chair, and one of my responsibilities was to go out to all of the school districts, and they had to decide whether or not they were going to go by election or go by choosing their own fill the position locally. And so I think most people, in fact, all of the people just about went with the vote. So for that reason, that's what I would like to do as well. So I could not be the chairman of that in the county and then come over here today and then switch and then say, let's do something else. So that's why I'm doing it. So it may seem like, we're just falling in line, which we are, which is a good idea. but that's my main reason for doing that, because I was on that board that went out to the school districts and had them to certify. So, Dr. Ketziora and staff, that's what we've decided.
So I think, Mr. Johnson, if I'm reading the agenda correctly, we are at the point that we can make a motion.
Yeah, make a motion.
If that is the case, I would like to make a motion that we fill the existing board vacancy of board member of trustee area number 5 by calling a special election.
I will second that motion.
Okay, so it's been moved by Mr. Hogan and seconded by Mrs. Smith that we call for an election. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Hogan,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye, so we have 3 ayes, no abstentions, no noes. The motion carried.
I just wanted to, Claudia, to clarify that then at our next board meeting in November, we'll bring back a resolution to adopt this, what they just voted on. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure y'all know that's going to happen.
I would just like to ask, since you reminded us earlier, Dr. Ketziora, do you have any comment to this?
No, I don't have comments on board items that y'all are voting, unless you want me to comment, but you don't need to ask me. But thank you, Mr. Holguin.
I think this was a clear decision.
Absolutely clear, no question about it.
Dr. Ketziora, you have any idea how long this whole process might take?
Well, the resolution will be approved at the next board meeting. And then the Claudia would work with the registrar of voters to establish the election and to, seek candidates and then have the election as early as possible, which should be April 12th.
So are we looking at 2 seats or 1 seat?
1 seat, just
Just the one,
Daryl
okay.
Pedens.
Yes.
In the November election, we're replacing Marcia Locke.
Okay.
That's already happening in November.
Thank
And
you.
that person will be on the board in December.
Good. Just want to make sure that the community hears that. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Moving on to H1B. Dr. Ketziora, would you please address this resolution? That was at number 2021-2221.
This is a resolution that recognizing the state of emergency and authorizing teleconference meetings pursuant to Assembly Bill 361. On March the 4th, 2020, Governor Newsom declared a statewide emergency arising from COVID-19, and that the Brown Act was relaxed and allowed for boards of education to conduct meetings on by Zoom, as we are doing. And also, this was extended until January 31st. And so in doing so, one of the things that when we learned about after our last board meeting was that this resolution is not required, but it's highly recommended that if a board chooses to continue not meeting in person, but meeting on Zoom, that they adopt this resolution to be transparent and also to demonstrate to the public that it is legal, that it is what boards of education can do. And some have gone back to doing this because of different issues. And this is in place until January 31st. And the only other requirement is that we discuss this every 30 days, just to have a discussion after, every 30 days about remaining in this status or changing that if the board so chooses to do so. So tonight, you talked about in the last meeting to continue continue with Zoom. So tonight it's just to adopt this resolution that signifies the significance of that discussion, but also to demonstrate that you're being transparent and that you're following the rules that have been outlined by the governor and by what it's allowed with this Assembly Bill 361.
Thank you, Dr. Katsura.
So, Dr. Kadziora, do you know how many other districts are still meeting on Zoom only?
I don't know that. We have not researched that. We can and get back to you with that. I do know that some, when there's disturbances at meetings, they dismiss the public and they go to Zoom. I know Redlands Unified did that in a couple of their board meetings. Temecula did that. You know, that's been one of the issues is the disturbances and some of the issues that have arisen with wearing masks in public and coming into board meetings. So when that has occurred, people have used this so that they can conduct their business, and they dismissed everyone or recessed until everyone left and then conducted their business. You know, there have been disturbances in Riverside Unified, in Corona Norco, where people have, you know, there's, you know, I've shared with you some of the situations, and that's been some of the concerns about public safety and what can arise, not only with COVID-19, but also just the safety and welfare of everyone that's in attendance.
Okay, I just wondered how many other boards or groups are still meeting Zoom only?
We can ask the SBA and find out, you know, what they'll tell us.
Okay.
So tonight it's just to adopt this resolution based on our discussion from the last board meeting. And then we'll have a discussion again in 30 days. And we'll also keep you informed as to any changes or find out how many districts are on Zoom.
So at the next meeting, we have to adopt another resolution. Is that correct?
No, this only is done once. This is the discussion is every 30 days. Okay. Is that right, Claudia?
It's not a requirement. It's something that they wanted us to have a discussion on, and it was highly recommended to approve this resolution. They do have other resolutions to reauthorize like every 30 days, but it's not a requirement.
Okay.
Unless you would, you know, I guess the point is if you would like that as a board, we can do that every 30 days because we do have subsequent resolutions that we could bring forward.
Since it is a recommendation and not a requirement, we can do pretty much either way.
Yes.
Yeah. So my opinion, I think we should adopt this resolution tonight. And then based on the information that you can share with us between now and the next meeting, we can decide if we have to adopt it again or just leave it alone or what steps we need to take to move forward. But for tonight, I would recommend, and whenever Mr. Johnson is ready, we're ready to make a motion.
Okay, well, let's hear from Mrs. Smith to see what her thinking is. Unless
I think I already talked.
Oh, okay, cool. Just want to make sure. I don't need you to. Okay, well then, Mr. Huggin, I
would not have given my opinion if I had not heard from Mrs. Smith, Mr. Johnson.
Okay. That's right. I have to give my opinion first so he can say, I agree with Mrs. Smith.
Okay, my name is Mrs. Johnson. Okay, so look, I agree with that as well. I'm just joking around. Okay, so can I get a motion, please?
Yes, I move that we approve. Oh, I lost it now. I'm sorry. I move that we approve resolution number 2021-22-21 as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Mrs. Smith seconded. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution number 2021-22-21 as presented. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Huggin.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. So we have 3 ayes, no 3 ayes. Ayes have it. Motion carried. Okay, so now we will go on to H2. Any other questions concerning this item before I move? H2, educational services action items. Mrs. Maribel Mathis.
I have no further information, Mr. Johnson, on the student discipline case 525.
I'm sorry, what's the last part you said?
I don't have any further information on this student discipline case.
Oh, okay, good, thank you. Okay, well, if that's the case, then colleagues, I'd like to get a motion on this item, please, H2A.
Okay, I move that we approve actions on the student disciplinary case as presented, case number 525.
Okay, a second, Ms. Hogan, okay. It's been moved by Ms. Smith and seconded by Mr. Hogan to approve action on student disciplinary cases as presented. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Hogan,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye, so we have 3 ayes, motion carried. We'll move on now to, where am I here? Right here. H2B, approval of the display world language instructional. Mrs. Maddox, would you like to?
Thank you. Would like to request board approval to display world language instructional materials. These proposed instructional materials and textbooks are for the Spanish Heritage Speakers classes and also the DLI program. They will be available for review by appointment in the Professional Development Office for the required 14-day period from October 27, 2021 to November 10th, 2021, prior to the recommendation to the board for consideration of adoption. Please note that the appropriate subject advisory council, our World Language Advisory Council, evaluated and recommended these textbooks materials per established procedures in board policy and administrative regulation 6161.1, selection and evaluation of textbooks. It is recommended and requested that the Board of Education approve the following materials, textbooks for public review. The title is Anecdotas, grade level 6 through 12, publisher One Way Education.
Thank you, Ms. Maddox. Appreciate that. Colleagues, what's your pleasure on this one? Mr. Hogan, Mrs. Smith.
I move that we approve the display of world language instructional materials as presented.
Okay, can I get a second? Okay, it's been moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Hogan to approve the display of world language instructional materials as presented. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hogan.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye, so we have 3 ayes, no nays. The motion carried. So we'll move on to business services. The lady with the purse, so Mrs. Lopez, is she? Where is she? I don't see it. There she is.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson.
I shouldn't have revealed that you've got that big purse, but you know.
So this evening, we have for action items, the approval of the elementary and secondary school emergency relief or ESSER 3 funds. Dr. Kidzura walked through and included this information in his presentation earlier today. So there's only a couple of things that I want to add. That in order to receive the ESSER 3 funds, it was a 3-part requirement. The first was that the district needed to complete legal assurances, and the district completed that on June 24th. The second requirement was that the board approve a safe return to in-person instruction and continuity of services plan. And the board approved that requirement at the July 20th board meeting. And now this evening we presented to you, and it was reviewed with you, the ESSER 3 plan, which is the last requirement in order for us to meet the qualifications to receive these funds. And you have a copy of the ESSER 3 plan as well. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if there is any.
No, I don't have any. Colleagues, you guys have any questions concerning this item? Well, if none, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So after the presentation that we saw tonight from Dr. Kidzura, I don't think there is any additional questions at this moment. There may be some questions down the road, but I just want to say again, thank you. And thank you, Susana Lopez, for reminded us about the other two requirements that had already been met. And so with no question, no doubt, I move that we approve the elementary and secondary school emergency relief SR3 funds as presented.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Hogan, and seconded by Mrs. Smith to approve the elementary and secondary school emergency relief 3 funds as presented. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Hogan,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. So we have 3 ayes, no nays, no abstention. That motion carries. So we'll stay with Mrs. Lopez, and I think we're on resolution, was it 2021-22-18? Ms. Lopez?
Yes, that's correct. This resolution would authorize the district to purchase electric buses. So I just want to give you a little bit of background on this because we have our Director of Transportation, Jim Burleson, that has spent a lot of time doing research and working on this. This is only the first part in this phase. I'm hoping to come back to you with a more thorough, in-depth presentation as well as the plan. But a couple of months ago, we were able to secure actually vouchers or similar to grant funds of over $4 million to be used for the purchase of electric buses. In this case, 30 vouchers, so 30 electric school buses. And that was the largest allocation for any school district in the state. And we're very excited that this is the road that we are going down. And one of the things that we're required to do is actually secure a purchasing method on how we're going to purchase these buses. And that's what this resolution would allow us to do, is it would allow us to authorize, number 1, the purchase of these electric school buses, and then number 2, be able to use a current piggyback contract that is already established. And so in being able to do so, we would secure the purchasing method. We have those 30 vouchers, and our director continues to work on additional ones. And so we're keeping our fingers crossed that when we come back to you with the full presentation, that we'll be able to share that we've been able to secure even more additional funding. And so this evening, we are asking for your approval on this resolution.
Ms. Lopez, before we move forward, would you just mention the monies that I see in this paragraph?
Yes, so we would be acquiring 30 electric school buses, and the cost for that would be $10.2 million. But because we've secured 30 of these vouchers, that is over $4.4 million. That is similar to a grant funding that we would be able to offset the cost. And our director continues to work with agencies to hopefully secure even more vouchers, but we want to make sure that we have the purchasing vehicle in place. And so I really want to thank our Director of Transportation again, Jim Burleson, as well as our Director of Purchasing, Tanisha Grattan, who has been working with him closely on making sure we do this properly because it is a large purchase.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And I was waiting to hear if you were going to mention Jim's name, Mr. Burleson's name, because he is a true professional in that field, and it's quite evident to me. I mean, when I first met him, when he came to one of our meetings, I knew that he was a great find, and so I just wanted to make sure that you mentioned that, and that's why I asked you to read that again. Okay, colleagues, any questions before I call for a motion, please?
I would just like to say that I'm so happy to hear that we are moving forward with electric buses. I know we've had some propane buses for a while, and now moving ahead with electric buses for our district, I think is just a step in the right direction as far as being non-polluting and a step, I feel like it's a step into the future for our district. First, we have all of this modernization and building in our schools. Now we're moving ahead with electric buses. I am just so excited for the future of the Moreno Valley Unified School District, and a big thanks to Jim Burleson for all of his hard work and in procuring these grants and getting the best deal he can for our district. So thank you to everyone, to your office, Susanna, and everyone who has worked so hard on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want a motion? I can also make a motion.
Well, let me just see if Mr. Hogan has anything to add, please.
Yeah. I just have a question, a couple of questions, I guess. So these 30 buses are replacing 30 existing buses, or is addition to the fleet?
They would be replacing, but you know, and that's, I don't want to steal Jim's thunder when he comes and presents to you, but he wants to show you what the future is of the department, because we've also talked about, you know, being at that point where we're ready to explore being able to provide services to other districts and other agencies. So this would replace the vehicles that we use, but I don't want to say that it would be a one-for-one, because we might need others depending on what the opportunities that are out there.
Okay, so I was going to ask what is the future, but I guess I'll wait until the next presentation. So thanks so much.
The future will come in the future. I remember when my older granddaughters were in elementary school and went on field trips, it was not unusual to have a, charter bus or something come and pick them up. And now, you know, he has provided the means for us to provide these services to our own district and not charter buses anymore. And I'm really happy about this other step where maybe it looks like a hint that maybe we'll be able to charter out to other districts. So thank you. So now I've lost my screen because I waited too long. Now I'd like to approve resolution number 2021-2218 as presented.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Hogan to approve resolution number 2021-22-18. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hogan.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. We have 3 ayes. Motion carried. Thank you guys again. And Mr. Burleson, wherever you are, thank you very much for the work that you have been providing us in our school district and to our students and their families. Okay, moving right along. We are back. We're at H4. Dr. Verdi. Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mr. Johnson. Tonight we are bringing forward for approval some new job descriptions, updated job descriptions. This first one under H4A is a new classified job description for the Student Information System Support Technician. And this was recently negotiated with our classified union. It is a new position that is actually taking the place of the current facilities demographic technician in the facilities department. That position is currently vacant. So it was a good time to sit down with the association and revamp the job description to meet current needs. This new position now will move to the Technology, Innovation, and Assessment Department under the direction of the Executive Director. And the SIS support technician will assume the previous duties of that facilities technician, as well as a variety of technical and data processing duties to ensure accurate student data, and performs routine and yearly maintenance tasks and sets up the very, very important and very critical student information system. Again, we're happy we were able to work with our partners in the association to get this negotiated and updated and to bring forward to you this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Verdi. Colleagues, you have any questions from Dr. Verdi before I call for a vote, please?
No question. I just have to say thank you for thinking about meeting the current needs and redesigning the positions to meet those needs.
Thank you. And Mrs. Smith, anything you want to add?
No, I'm ready to
okay.
Make a motion to approve the.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I move that we approve the new classified job description titled Student Information System SIS Support Technician as presented.
Okay, can we get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hogan. So it was moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Hogan to approve the new classified job description titled Campus Security. My clock is messing me up. The title, Campus Security Officer, CSO 2, funded by DOJ-SES.
I don't think we're on that one just yet, Mr. Johnson.
What the heck, what did I? Oh, you saw that.
We're still on page 156, Mr.
Yeah, yes. My finger was holding it, so I know where to go. I'm sorry. All right, so I'll just have it was moved by Mrs. Smith again and Mr. Hogan to approve the new classified job description titled Student Information System, SIS Support Technician as presented. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Hogan?
Did I do that?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye. So we have 3 ayes. Motion carried. New classified job description. Okay, so now we can go to where my finger is. New classified job description, campus security, Dr. Verdi.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And again, just taking a look at current needs and current landscape, as well as funding that has been made available to the district to address those needs. This position of Campus Security Officer 2 is actually funded by the DOJ Tobacco Program grant. And the position is going to be under the supervision of the Directors of Student Services and the Director of Safety and Security. This position functions as a lead officer and will participate in a wide variety of programs and services and assist with trainings at our high schools, middle schools, and other sites in order to work on and promote tobacco prevention. The CSO2's primary role is to train secondary school students and parents as to the harmful effects of using tobacco and vaping devices. So again, a very timely position that was also negotiated and worked through with our partners in CSCA. And we're looking forward to bringing this forward to you for student services, as well as for Mr. Scott's team to implement. Thank you.
Dr. Verdi, I have a question right quick. You said students and parents?
Yeah, so I believe the vision is to help with some trainings and presentations that would be available to kids and their families to just inform and educate on some of the harmful effects as it pertains to those items.
Is that in a group setting, or is that, I guess that's the only way you can probably do that, right?
Yes, I don't know if Student Services has pieced that all together just yet, Mr. Johnson, but they would try and do group things, I'm sure.
Yeah, good. We might even assist the parents if they have habits and things like that. So thank you. So colleagues, do you guys have any questions before we?
So help me again. Is this a new position?
It is a new position with an updated job description. It's still based on the CSO or the Campus Security Officer position that we currently have, Mr. Holdeen, but this one is grant funded and it has that added layer of safety and the educational component as it pertains to vaping and tobacco products.
So which grant? Oh, here it is, a tobacco program grant. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And it's only for 2 years.
Only for 2 years.
Yeah. It's contingent upon funding, and the positions say that, and it's for 2 years. And the 2 years already started.
Oh, okay. So.
unless they extend the grant. But the purpose of the grant was to educate families and students about vaping and smoking cessation. And you know, there's a lot of students who vape. I don't know if y'all know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have relatives who have children that are doing it, and they don't know how to get their kids to discontinue it. So this is to help educate and inform and support families and support students in decreasing their dependency on vaping.
And the continuation
of the vaping is a lot of people think it's not it's not as bad for you as smoking, but I think the addictive effects of tobacco are still there. And, you know, it does have an addictive effect. And so I think that's why we want to prevent vaping as well as smoking.
It can be it leads to other destructive behaviors in many cases. So that's a real consideration of why this grant was submitted and developed to help with, you know, students having a healthier lifestyle.
So is this a grant that you have to apply every so often?
Well, this grant, the duration of it when it was applied for was for 2 years. And I'm not sure if it's renewed after 2 years or if because when you do one of these grants, you have to supply information along the way of what's happened. And so that's contingent sometimes upon you getting an extension or continuing the funding. But that's an important piece of this, is that the people who are hired in this are trained with those skills to help families and students. So there are always open positions that people can move into. It's difficult when someone is in a grant and they get this training to not have them continue, but I can see that not happening because, you know, there are other positions that they could, you know, take that are open, because we have open positions right now that we can't fill. But I just wanted to emphasize it's a 2-year grant and it's for 2 years, and these positions are contingent upon funding at this time. And that's listed, Dr. Verdi, on what's going to be listed on the job announcement.
Yes, sir. So that folks apply, but they understand that it is contingent upon funding.
Okay. Any other questions? Are we pretty well safe there?
I move that we approve this resolution. Wait a minute, to approve the new classified job description, title Campus Security Officer, funded by the DOJ SS Tobacco Program grant as presented.
Okay.
I will second that motion.
Okay. Been moved by Mr. Hoageen and seconded by Mrs. Smith to approve the new classified job description. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Hoageen?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye. So we have 3 ayes. Motion carried. Thank you, guys. Move on now to new temporary job description. I think that's H4C. Yes, H4C. Dr. Ver.
I appreciate it. So this particular job description, it was alluded to earlier in the meeting, where we're utilizing the ESSER 2 and 3 funds to create a temporary itinerant TK through 12 teacher. As the board's aware, districts across the country are dealing with severe substitute teacher shortages. Even though we've amped up our recruiting efforts and so forth, we've seen declining numbers in our substitute teacher ranks across the state. In just a little background information, in the 18-19 school year, the agency, the CTC agency that issued substitute teaching permits, issued about 64,000 permits, and in 2021, it issued only 47,000 permits. So in order to help address the needs of the district, as well as to utilize those special funds, the district is proposing a new temporary job title, the itinerant TK-12 position for the 21-22 school year. The minimum qualification is that of a substitute teacher, but in order to remain competitive and to fill some of these substitute positions and retain these individuals, the itinerant teacher would also assist with independent studies at individual school sites and be eligible for an annual salary, as well as benefits for the year. So we would be able to maybe recruit some of our current subs that are serving in roving positions and talk to them about serving in this capacity for the remainder of this school year to really lock them in, to show that we appreciate them. Of course, they get this additional salary and the benefits for the year, but it really allows us to rely on them and lock them in for support with independent study and substitute assignments.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Any questions? Mr. Hogan, Mrs. Smith?
No, I know other districts are doing this, and I think it's a good idea to get some people locked in and
Yes. And I know they're pleased, right?
I think this will go a long way towards showing that, Mr. Johnson, in terms of
Yes.
being able to have them work exclusively from Moreno Valley Unified,
Yes.
and again to know that we have them to rely on for the remainder of the school year in these special positions.
Yeah, and it's help us too with the continuity. You know what I mean? So, great job.
But it is a temporary position. Excuse me, it is a temporary position.
That's correct, Mr. Holguin. Also contingent upon the funding that I mentioned, and we are saying that it would be for the 21-22 school year. So when we have conversations with prospective candidates for the position, we would make sure they're aware it is for this school year only.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Okay, so Mr. Hogan, you made the motion, and Mrs. Smith, you seconded.
He hasn't seconded.
Let me say it.
Johnson.
I don't think he made a motion, except he said, I'm ready to make a motion.
Let me make the motion. I move that we approve the new temporary itinerant TK-12 teacher position for the 21-22 school year as presented.
I will second that motion.
Okay, it's been motioned by Mr. Hogan and seconded by Ms. Smith. Okay, call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hogan.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. We have 3 ayes. Motion carried. Then we have H5 provisional internship permit. Dr. Verdi, very busy night, so would you please like to give us a briefing on this one, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. As the board's aware, we must present this notice to our governing board in a public meeting with the signed statement from the superintendent and verification that we have acted upon this particular item. The provisional internship permit, just to reapprise you of that, or the PIP as it's called, allows an employing agency to fill immediate staffing needs by hiring individuals who are still completing their subject matter competency requirements needed to enter an intern program. As always, the district has conducted a diligent search for fully credentialed teachers. Again, as the board's aware, there is a shortage in all areas right now, unfortunately, but thankfully we have great relationships with local universities. And some of these individuals tonight on this item, Mr. Johnson, are current employees in other areas that are transferring or transitioning from classified positions into the teaching ranks as well. So we're happy to present this tonight because it does help fill some needs, and it also helps some employees move into new positions and new opportunities.
Okay, sounds like a great idea to me. Colleagues, you guys have any questions concerning this? If no questions,
but I would like to make a motion to approve the provisional internship permit for the 2021-22 school year as presented.
Okay.
Second.
And the second by Mr. Hogan. So it's moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Hogan to approve the provisional internship permit for the 2021 and 22 school year. Call for the vote, please.
Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hogan.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye. So we have 3 ayes. Motion carried. So we have next, future agenda topics. Colleagues, you guys have any suggested topics for future meetings?
Just for the record, requesting the resolution for the filling of the vacancy for the next meeting. We already talked about it, but just to make it
just for the record, okay.
In the record.
And Mrs. Smith, I have your item that you gave me.
Okay.
About PERS, retirees.
Right.
I haven't discussed it with cabinet yet because I've waited, but I will have it, you know.
Okay, I just don't want to get in a situation where we have a bunch of fines or something. That's my concern.
Yeah. Thank you.
Also, how is our recruiting for bus drivers going? Do we need more bus drivers? I saw the sign on your car.
You mean, Susanna, I think you had Jim gave you an update the other day, didn't he?
Well, we still do have some vacancies. I think we were down to either 7 or 9 the last we checked, but you know, we were able to do a number of things in his department, including making those positions 6-hour positions so that the drivers could also have benefits. So that was helpful. And then he was at the last fair that was at Vista, Delago, and he had people apply there too. So he's definitely getting a lot more applicants, which is good.
Great.
And slowly filling all the positions. Thank you.
Oh, good. Then we don't have to have that on a future agenda topic. It's being taken care of right now. Thank you. So I have nothing else.
Okay, Mr. Hogan, anything?
No, nothing else.
Okay, I have something. I don't know if this is an agenda item or not, but I was just wondering, Dr. Ketchura, you know, we've got some pretty good sports programs here, and we've got some great facilities. And I don't know if this is a future topic or not, but I'd like to know how are our athletes doing in our district? You know, I think the last time we went to something, it was when Moreno Valley had a softball player and a baseball player. I think it was about a year or two ago, right, Jesus? When they signed letters of intent because they had I think both of them had a full ride. But I was just wondering if that's something that we could, you know, put on the agenda if those things are happening, because other than Moreno Valley High School, I mean, I wouldn't have known. And I'm just wondering if we have other students that are getting these and, you know, and we don't know about it. You know.
Well, as I learn about things, they are put in the superintendent's update and also in your board communication. So I don't have any right now, but I did update you tonight in the superintendent's update about our sports programs and those 2 girls in golf and our water polo team and our cross country team and our football team. And so that's the information that I have, and I'm not keeping anything from you. I just want you to know that. And so I
that's all.
As I find it out, I include it in that report.
Okay. All right. That's all I had as far as a future. So, any other topics, Mrs. Smith, Mr. Hogan?
Nope, I'm good.
So that means we're at K, comments from board members and superintendent. Huh?
Now you're on page 170, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, did I skip already?
Page 170.
Okay, yeah, I skipped that. Dr. Verdi, would you like to address us on the classified job description?
Yes, will do, Mr. Johnson. These are just 2 acknowledgement items to make the board aware of this evening. A couple of updates on classified job descriptions. One is the data reporting technician. An update to that job description is just submitted for acknowledgement due to updating the position description. The position will now be under the direction of the Executive Director of Technology, Innovation, and Assessment, or the Executive Director of the SELPA. So that was an update there in terms of supervisory role as it pertains to that particular job description. And then the other brief update was the Director 3 Public Information Officer description being updated due to the title changing to Director 3 of Communications and Community Engagement, which more closely aligns and reflects the job duties and responsibilities being performed by Ms. Velasco. That was it, Mr. Johnson. Thank you.
Okay. Colleagues, you guys have any questions concerning that item? None? Okay, then Dr. Verdi, would you like to speak with us based on the classified managerial job description?
That was the one for the public information officer one. So we covered both of those, Mr. Johnson.
Oh, you got both of those. Okay, number one. Okay. Either I'm missing.
And Mr. Johnson, after tonight, we will not refer to our Director of Communications and Community Engagement as a public information officer. So I just want to make sure everybody remembers that. Often we do something and people, they keep calling them by the old name.
Okay.
But I just want to make sure that people remember that and use that, because she's very proud of this, and I am too, and she deserves it. And it truly is an honor to have her work here, because I do want you to know that she was recruited by 2 other districts, and I'm grateful that she is here, because every day she does innovation and creativity at a higher level. So remember that she's not a public information officer. She's the Director of Communications and Community Engagement. I just want to reinforce that.
Director of Communications. Okay.
We're all grateful she's here with us.
Yes, we are. I second that. Okay. Let's see. Shoot, I think Claudia, I think did I miss?
You're on letter K now, Mr. Johnson, page 178.
Yeah. Okay. K. This one say adjournment. Do we have to?
No, you're on comments from board members and superintendents, sir.
Oh, the one on the top, yeah, the K. So, Mrs. Smith and Mr. Hogan, you guys have any comments, closing comments before we adjourn?
We always have comments.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll keep mine brief though.
That's all right. I
would like to say congratulations to the Moreno Valley High School girls volleyball team for being in round 3 of the CIF playoffs. They're doing a great job. Also, congratulations to the Vista Delago High School football team for clinching the Inland Valley League title Friday night with a win. I guess, is this the 2nd year in a row they've done this?
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there because I have a Friday night commitment. I was not there.
Ms. Smith, last year it was ceremonial. We gave them that honor, but we really didn't have a season last year because of COVID. But they did, and all, they did.
They would have won if they had had a season.
Yeah.
And now they've won again. So thank you.
Yeah.
Also, congratulations to Canyon Springs Anti-Bullying Club for winning a Golden Bell Award. We have been hearing about the great things that the Anti-Bullying Club at Canyon Springs has been doing for many, many years. I know that Canyon Springs High School is not tolerant of bullying. And congratulations to the ABC Club for their big win. Thank you. And thank you again for the Measure M Committee and their great presentation, and for everyone who's helping our district move forward in these building projects. Thank you.
Well, that was too brief, Ms. Smith. Thank you. I want to try to do mine brief too. So I wanted to say same congratulations to the teams. You are released to the teams, but looking forward to seeing more games in the next few days and supporting the teams, all the teams, not just one school or other, but all the teams. And then hopefully we can be at the volleyball game tomorrow, but there are other things happening at the same time. So we're going to try to, play and see how we can do that. I want to say in regards to several of the presentations tonight, to Dr. Katsura and your team, it's not just you, Dr. Katsura, I'm not giving you the full credit because there's a lot of people here. involved in this. But I have to say that I truly appreciate this district opening the doors for stakeholders for input, for giving their ideas, for giving their suggestions, for participating. And I think that's a great thing that is happening here, because for one thing, I strongly believe, like all of us do, that Dr. Katsura keeps providing a lot of information to the community, through the phone calls, website, and emails, and you know, all kinds of means to share information with the community of what is happening in the district, and then opening the doors for the community to come in and give their input. I think that is important. That's critical. In some cases, it is required, but I think it's done perfectly well here in the district. So I want to say thank you, and I'm hoping that the stakeholders, all the community members, feel the same way, and they feel that they have the open door to come in and tell the district what their suggestions or their ideas are. So thank you for that. And then I already mentioned in the presentation of Dr. Katsura, in some of the items of the plan there is a lot of creativity there, a lot of creativity that is going to allow our students to be in a much better environment, not just meeting the requirements of the conditions today, but also looking into the future. So I'm very pleased with the presentation this evening, but again, more than just the presentation, I'm very pleased, very, very proud, and looking forward to, first of all, supporting the team, and then second, seeing the results of all the work that is being done, and the planning for the use of the funds, and the planning for the facilities, and the ongoing process of the building, remodeling, and creating those environments for our students. And then I want to say thank you to the team, whoever, I mean, you know, who had to do something with the virtual senior college and career fair. I think that was a great event for our students. And then event for the community, Helping Hands event at Vista Delago High School, great event too. And there were a lot of people from the district involved in that, and helping and being there just to support all the participants. So thank you for that. And then I know the district is heavily involved with the Moreno Valley College Career and Technical Education initiatives and programs. So I want to say thank you to that too. I was able to attend briefly the DLAC meeting, and just to say hi to the parents. I know there is a lot of parent committees, parent events taking place. For some reason, for one reason or another, you know, it's just has been difficult to attend a lot of them this time, but I was able to attend the DLAC. So I'm just going to take that as an example and tell the parents of the DLAC and of the African American group and all the other groups of parents. I just want to say thank you to the parents for continuing being involved in these committees and continue being involved in the process of redesigning or improving the educational system in the district. So thank you for that. And we already talked about the volleyball games. So the volleyball games and the football games, and it's exciting to see the students succeeding not only academically, but also on the field. And once again, thank you for the presentations this evening. Thank you for the Oversight Committee, the bond, critical involvement, and I'm so pleased and so glad that they are part of this process. So great presentations this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hogan. I'll just pick up where you just left off, because that was my first item. The Measure M. Do want to make sure we thank those folks who's on that committee and has been on it for a long time. Very, very happy that we have them on there and they're watching us. They're assisting us in everything that we're doing. And along with that, I do also want to, I had Dr. Katsura at the very bottom, but I'm going to bring him up higher and say thank you, Dr. Katsura, for utilizing the funds and the manner in which we're doing to improve our district holistically, not just one little area, but when you pass by, even like Marina Valley High School, I sometimes pass by there just so I could see that new building and see the facing and things like that. So when you look at that, those things, you become even prouder than you are when you walk the campuses. So just know that as an observer, when you pass by, and not just that building, but all of them really. And as I said earlier, when I was passing by Canyon Springs, I pulled off and just looked at it and say, man, how beautiful is that? And thank you for your idea of putting that new building in the front where you can see it, because when you're driving, you can see it, but you don't really know what it is. And that's one of the reasons why I pulled off, just so I could just take a look at that. So that was a great idea.
Mr. Johnson, have you driven by that building at night?
No, not at night.
You should. You should.
Okay,
you'll think you're somewhere else. The lighting, it's very captivating, and I'm just saying.
What time
I was at the football game the other night. You weren't there, but the football game, I drove by and I parked. There's a little inlet there.
Yeah.
Do that sometime, and you'll appreciate it. We're gonna do the state of the district about that time, and it'll really look like we're at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. You'll have to reimagine, but
Well, I've got to go get a hamburger tonight, so I might just drive out there and take a look. But no, seriously, thank you. I mean, thank you because I haven't been by that night. I've been by in the daytime, and that's when I pulled over. One day I was passing by, but I mean, it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. So again, thank you and your team for improving all of our buildings like that. And I know the parents and our community's got to be proud of those buildings as well that we've seen. And as far as the promotions, congratulations again to everyone. Mrs. Lopez, I would try to borrow $1 from you, but I know you wouldn't even give it to me because you're putting it in the school. All putting all joking aside, but thank you so much for taking care of our funds and utilizing in the way that is being done. So thank you so much for your talents and your services. I want to make sure I mention that. And I even wrote Claudia. Claudia, thank you for helping me. Appreciate that. I don't mind saying on TV, yes. And I have on here Dr. Ketziori too for being our district leader and your interest in everything. I did have you down here too, so I do want to thank you for just having a pulse on everything, because some people, there's only certain things that they like, and that's what they're going to concentrate on. But you have the whole pie. And with that, I want to thank your cabinet and everyone else who's been working with us for over these years, and putting in the long hours, the ingenuities, and everything to make this district what it is right now. And I think it's one of the top districts in California, if you ask me. So again, thank you, and thank you to my colleagues for putting up with me tonight. I guarantee you, it'll be better next time. And that's it. Thank you, Claudia. Happy birthday, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you.
That's all right. I didn't think you heard me.
Well, I got to unmute. Mr. Holguin had a birthday on October 13th. And it's surprising how close y'all were all born together. You and Mrs. Smith and Mr. Holguin and Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, you have a birthday in November, like mid-November.
I don't think so. I have to go.
You do. We've already have it.
You've already checked.
But Jesus was born first, and then Miss Smith was born second, and then you were born third. And so it's amazing how close y'all are. No wonder y'all have this brother and sister type relationship.
Yes.
And enjoy each other so much.
Yeah.
But Miss Smith, October 30th is your birthday, and that's is it Saturday?
It's Saturday, yes.
Yeah. So I know you got your family, and they've got big plans for you, and we just want you to know how much we appreciate you, and the student, staff, and community are better because of you. And happy birthday. You know, we
Thank you.
really appreciate and value what you contribute to our school district. And, you know, just thank you for everything. Happy birthday. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And then I just want everybody to know it's Red Ribbon Week. And, you know, this whole week and it's drug free, looks like me. And this is today at Bayside or Bridges Learning Center at the Bayside. They made this game. It's like where you do a toss and they did it to do something to demonstrate, you know, how to be drug free, but participate in other activities. And I'm just really impressed with the creativity and what they did there today. And I want to thank Philip Peoples and his staff for sending that to me and for, you know, just doing so many things to help students have a much better life. I don't have a slide for this. You can just leave it on this, Claudia. But tomorrow night is our trunk or treat. It's a drive-through. I want everyone to know that the only in-person things that we really do in our district are outdoor activities. And we do all of our interviews by Zoom. We do many of our trainings by Zoom. So it isn't like we just have school board meetings on Zoom. We have many activities by Zoom because we also know that there's concerns about vaccinations and different exposures and different things. So, you know, until we have more, you know, just order, that's some of the ways that we do things. And our drive-through things are meant to be just as they are drive-through. This is a trunk or treat. It's a drive-through. People drive through and they register, and it's from 4 to 6. And so I know the board is going to come there. You could dress up if you want to. They're going to have things for y'all to pass out. And Nautica Neal is in charge of it. And it's through the Community Engagement and Wellness Office. But really, you know, it'll be a great activity. And so then Mr. Holguin has to decide whether he goes to, he's going to go to the volleyball game, but there's an ethnic studies webinar with Jose Medina tomorrow night. And I've been asked as a superintendent to represent. And I really appreciate them asking me, but it's at the University of Redlands. So there'll be that at 6 o'clock. So you'll have choices, activities. That's what Mr. Holguin was talking about. And then I just want to tell the board how proud we are of Landmark Middle School. And I would encourage you to go visit. I went the other day at dismissal when it was raining. And Rafael Garcia and his team, the school has truly been transformed. And I want to thank Susanna Lopez and maintenance and operations. There's been a lot of things that have been done there. But the order and the safety of the school is probably one of the best in the district. Many of the people who work there walk up to me and tell me that they've never seen the school. And I don't mean the physical facility, but I'm talking about the culture and climate, that it's so positive and that it's so extraordinary that, I mean, even kids that are there tell me how much they like it. They walk up and tell me, you know, so very proud of that. And I think you should be too. The administrative team and the staff there work very collaboratively together, and just very grateful for what's happened there. And then I want to thank some people. Every morning we get a substitute update of how many classrooms are unfilled. And I have a special group of people that help me out every morning. I contact them early because I don't want any classes in this district combined. I don't want any classes without a teacher. And so Dolly Prinz and Martha Cepeda Medina and Andrea Chavez and Danette Aguilar and Sonia Quinn, they're headed by Lily Avia. They're the English language learner team. But every morning I contact them and I say, would you go here? Would you do this? And they always say yes. And they helped out Hidden Springs this morning and Moreno Elementary. But, you know, it takes a lot of different people to make all of these things happen. And I also want to thank the PD specialist because they also help out with this. They go to schools and substitute in classrooms. And I just think in elementary, it's difficult to get class coverage. So when you have an in-field class, you have to like really try to get a body there, but also a person who wants to be there. So I think that's important. And I want to thank the student interns because I just really value what they're doing in our district. I want to thank Ana E. Velasco, our Director of Communications and Community Engagement, who trains them and has them go out and help schools and support them during this pandemic. It truly means a lot. And I really want to thank all the administrators. This is the month of the school administrator. And I know that it's very stressful and I can't thank them enough, but I want to thank all the district administrators for going to sites every day and being present at lunch, at dismissal, at arrival, because it takes away from what their job is. But we know there's no greater job than student safety in our district. And I just want to say that we do have more fighting among students than usual, and I hate to even say it, but I think it's important to let people know that we want children to come to school, to be safe, to settle arguments peacefully, to be civil, and work on things together, to listen to each other, to understand and use good manners, not to fight and to be physical. And I just, it's Red Ribbon Week, but I also want to say it's, drug-free week, but it's also an opportunity to talk about, like when I see those kids at Bayside doing that activity so peacefully, that's the kind of district we imagine. And we have to reimagine all the time when there is conflict and think through how students are going to, learn a better way. And that's why as adults, it's really important that we model behavior and we settle conflict, at board meetings and, listen to each other. We agree to disagree, but people, students see how we behave. I had an intern today who was talking to me and he said, Dr. Kidzer, I remember you from middle school. You visited Badger Springs and then I went to high school and you were at Vista Delago. And, I don't really try to go around and, be so, but my mother and father used to say it's hard not to notice me. I don't know why. But anyway, I just want to say that students respond and react to positive, and they really like that. They really like when an adult takes an interest in them. And I think that's what we need to do more of every day, is take more interest in young people and reassure them that everything's going to be all right and we're going to be here for them. And I think when we do that more and more, when they see us and we talk to them, they become more inspired and more capable and more confident. And so I just challenge our students tomorrow and the rest of the week and all of our staff to be kind to our, talk kindly and to know that everyone is going through a difficult time, but we all need to be kind to each other and to listen, to understand and use good manners and intend to be successful and collaborative, all of those things in the 11 commitments. So thank you, Mr. Johnson.
You're quite welcome. Okay, with that, the meeting is now adjourned at, what time is it? 9:43 p.m. Thank you guys very much for your patience and your indulgence.
Happy birthday, Ms. Smith.